attention is at number 6, motion, consideration and debate on
and wherever it is, it's in two places.
On the state of nation, the article D is missing, on the state of the nation's address, and wherever it might occur. Any order on page 1? Can we move to page 2? Any issue or issues on page 2? Page 3. Page 4. Any issue or issues on page 4? Page 5. Page 6. The absence of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, majority leader and member for Kantora.
Yeah, it's to sit till 8 o'clock, not 6 o'clock.
What?
Motion was moved for us to 6 till 8 o'clock yesterday.
Which
not,
page?
Not 6 o'clock.
Yes.
But we agree on time.
Sit beyond, not only beyond 6, but up to 8 o'clock. Can you note that down? On page 6, motion to sit beyond 6 o'clock. You know, it says the Honorable Bileji Tunkara, member for Kantora, moved the motion. I was seconded by Honorable Swebo Ture, member for.
No, I mean the motion was to sit till 8 o'clock.
Yes.
That was the motion I moved. I didn't move beyond 6. I said 8 o'clock.
Yes.
But it will be captured. It's exact 8 o'clock. Yeah, yeah.
No, yes, it should be captured as it was moved. Table clerk, the table office, not down. Honorable members, thank you.
Yes, there's.
Yes, you have another.
Okay. They said they would take that because there was a movement. But anyways.
It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceeding of the National Assembly sitting of Monday, 12 June 2023 be adopted with amendment. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Motion, please.
Motion. Clerk.
51.
The member for Central Baribu.
Speaker, I have a motion. Here, standing order 61. 3.
61-3.
Yes, a motion for limitation of debate under the standing order may be made without notice, provided that such motions shall not be made in the course of the debate to which it refers unless it is moved after adjournment of such debate and before the debate is resumed. On that note, I'm moving the motion that we have time limit for the debate, 15 minutes each. 10.
Sorry, the mover stated 15 minutes. Any seconder? Please, honorable members, please, honorable members.
May I observe, Honorable Speaker?
The member for Lower Salom.
I want to observe before the seconder come.
No, please. How can you observe when there is a motion? It have not even been seconded. Member for Salimentre.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion for the 15 minutes time limit. Thank you.
It has been moved and seconded that today's proceeding, there is time limit for each contributor between the hours of 0 minutes to 15 minutes. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it.
Honorable Speaker, I am calling for division.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm calling for division. Yes.
Clerk?
Yes, I'm calling for division. Honorable Speaker.
Please, put off your mic, sir. Please, don't use your mic. He called for division. Can we count? Clerk? Please, those in for us to limit the time to 15 minutes, please raise your constituency tax. Please raise your tax. Please raise your tax. Raise your tax. Those opposed, please raise your tax. Those opposed. No, not 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Don't use your mic. Don't use your mic. Don't use your mic. Don't use your mic. Please, clerk, sit down. Order. Order, please. Those not in favor, please raise your tax.
Honorable Speaker.
No. Allow me to announce the result. No. Please. No, after the announcement, you can observe, please. The result is as follows. Those in favor, 19 votes. Those against, 5 votes. So, you must understand. Yeah, you can. The member for Lower Southern, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think that was a precedent that was set. For me, I spoke for 1 hour. But then there are others who wants to speak more than 15 minutes. You understand?
Please,
I'm coming. Whoever wants to speak less than 15, you can stop at 15. Whoever wants to speak more than 15, he has all right to speak.
Okay, please sit down, sir. Please sit down. Honorable member, please, we are governed by our own standing orders and the Constitution's rule of procedures. And then there was a motion, and we have voted. You participated in the votes, and the motion has been approved by Parliament. And in accordance to our standing orders, before the start of the continuation of the debate, we can put up a motion to time limit. Please.
Well, he is right. Partly, if you look at it, those who had the opportunity to speak, they have said almost everything want to say. In fact, some of us who are yet to speak, it will be a kind of repetition. What might have been said by your colleagues before, even whereas there may be difference, but it will be slight difference. There will be repetition, and we need to manage the time. Today is the last day. Only 14 people participated yesterday, maximum 15. And we have the vast majority that are yet to speak, and all the ministers supposed to respond to their line ministries, likewise the vice president. When are we going to finish as members, and when will the ministers come for the vice president to wrap up the debate? That is our fear. That's why we said let's manage the time. Thank you.
No further. I'm not entertaining further argument on this. No. Thank you. In fact, just to say that what we have done, please, what we have done, please. What we have done is in accordance with our standing order, and I will refer this Honorable Assembly to 61.3, and it reads, provided that such motion shall not be made in the course of the debate to which it refers, unless it is moved after adjournment of such debate and before the debate is resumed. Amendment 25 June 2020. Like yesterday, we adjourned. When we resumed after a lunch break, they could not have moved the motion because I've already given the floor to someone else. And we adjourned yesterday. Before we continue today, the honorable member for Central Body will move a motion in accordance with relevant section of the standing orders. Thank you. Clerk.
Motion, continuation and conclusion of the debate on the State of the Nation Address 2023 by His Excellency the Vice President.
Honorable members, we are continuing the debate on the State of the Nation Address delivered by His Excellency the President on Thursday from where it stopped yesterday. As communicated yesterday, His Excellency the Vice President is here with Cabinet Ministers and him representing His Excellency the President of the Republic on the debate on the motion on the State of the Nation Address. May I request that any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate raise his or her own constituency tag to be recorded and will be given the floor. However, before giving any honorable member the floor, may we remind ourselves to respect the rules of debate as enshrined under Clause 29(1) of the Standing Orders, which reads, every member shall restrict his or her observation to the subject under discussion. Therefore, furthermore, Clause 30 sub 1 also reads, debate upon any motion or amendment to a motion or upon any bill, part of a bill, or amendment to a bill shall be relevant thereto, except in the case of a motion for the adjournment of the Assembly. Therefore, I call on the honorable members to respect and observe the rules as indicated. Thank you very much. Honorable Clerk, we can continue. Now we'll continue to where we stopped. And Your Excellency, okay, the Vice President already. I also want to recognize the presence of honorable Cabinet Ministers who are here. And Your Excellency, Mr. Vice President, I hope, as we communicated yesterday, you have notified all the other honorable ministers and their technicians to be here to assist you, because they will all be given the floor also to respond to issues before you wind up the debate. The member for Jimara.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yesterday I withdrew my interventions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I now give the floor to the member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. His Excellency the Vice President, the Cabinet Ministers, my fellow honorable members, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Honorable Speaker, before going to my submission proper, I will want to seize this opportunity to commend His Excellency the President for fulfilling his constitutional mandate by coming to the Parliament to share with us his policies and programs as far as his administration is concerned. Honorable Speaker, I would just want to refer you to page 27, number 23 of the President's speech. And with your permission, I would just want to read. During the President's 2023 SUNA on the legal and judiciary, he incorrectly stated that, and I open quote, in 2022, several acts were enacted, such as the Disability Act, end quote. Honorable Speaker, as a member of the National Assembly, I am duty-bound to ensure that information submitted to Parliament is accurate. In this regard, I hereby submit that this section of the President's speech should be rectified. to reflect that the Persons with Disability Act was approved in 2021 and ascended to by the President in 2021 and not 2022. Honorable Speaker, for our parliamentary records, it is important for this information to be rectified, and I believe it is very important. Going further, I'll be referring you to various sections that were stated by the President during his Sooner speech 2023. And in that regards, I will start by page 28, number 5, which talks about the most anticipated document, that is the draft constitution, that all of us as Gambians are looking forward to. Honorable Speaker, it doesn't seem like the draft constitution is coming to Parliament in 2023. Why I am saying this? The President revealed that for now, according to number 5 of page 28, for now it is essential to determine the necessary legislative amendments to support the next phase of the review process. However, Honorable Speaker, last year he noted that the Constitution remains a top priority for his government and is determined to oversee the crafting of a constitution for the Gambia. The President even announced that he had tasked the Ministry of Justice to resume work towards tabling a draft constitution before this August Assembly. It is completely different message from the President right now. And to me and the people I represent, we are very confused because we believe this is the most anticipated document that us as Gambians are looking towards to see that as far as the transitional justice process is concerned in this country, is achieved. Honorable Speaker, going further, when it comes to women issue, is always my concern, more particularly the young. Honorable Speaker, I will refer you to page 19 of the Sooner speech 2023 by the President, number 2. The Honorable Speaker, the President said the Women Enterprise Fund introduced in 2020, which has benefited more than 93 women entrepreneurs, with $68 million being disbursed to 628 women groups. According to the President, the recovery rate during the past 3 years stands at 75% and 53% respectively. For the first and second disbursement in 2023, about 550 women groups will be reached countrywide through the same arrangement. Honorable Speaker, we are indeed very concerned. And when I say we are indeed very concerned, I think it is high time for us to take the women of the Gambia seriously. An act was enacted in 2020. And from 2020 up to date, you want to tell us more than 93,000 women benefited from such initiative or fund. I am saying no to that. So in that regards, I will want the portfolio minister, if she is here present, to provide the August Assembly the list of the beneficiaries of more than 93 women entrepreneurs that benefited from the Women Enterprise Fund from 2020 up to date, which I believe is very important. And another concerning issue is that there are guidelines when it comes to the Act. I think these guidelines should be followed. And if yes, how are they following these guidelines? I think this is very important. Honorable Speaker, Going further, education. I believe as a nation, we believe education is very key. And as a nation, if we really want to harness demographic dividend, we must enhance our education system, which is indeed very important. During the president's speech, focusing on higher education, the government through, that is page 24 of number 5, the government through the ministry has allocated over 100 million for scholarships and financial assistance to deserving students. Additionally, the ministry plans to implement a student loan scheme from this year on for more students to access higher education programs. Honorable Speaker, with due respect, how do we measure deserving students? I think this is indeed a concern. And in that regard, is there any scholarship provided already? If yes, we want to know how. Honorable Speaker, I think I will not do justice by standing here to talk about the SUNA 2023 by the President without highlighting some of the most pertinent issues that are currently trending in this country, which is indeed very important. Honorable Speaker, the issue of the rising of cost of living, the influx of deported Gambians, and the plans for their reintegration, and the last but not the least, the 70 innocent children from the Aki case. I think these are very important. I didn't hear the President during his speech mention anything about this. And these are very pertinent. These are very important things. So in that regard, I will want His Excellency, the Vice President, to enlighten us as honorable members to know how far as this situation is concerned, more particularly when it comes to the 70+ innocent children that passed away from the Aki case. Honorable Speaker, I will conclude by also bringing up the most important issue when it comes to our case as Banjulians. That is the BANJUL Road Rehabilitation Project. During the last SUNA speech, the President did mention about the project and even said it is funded by a local fund, that is taxpayers' money. But this year's SUNA speech, I didn't hear anything about the BANJUL Rehabilitation Project. And as I am talking to you, we are not far from the rainy season. And we saw what happened last year. Families were displaced. They were taken to schools to be housed by us. That is myself and my team. We really don't want such a situation to reoccur this year. And I want to make it very clear that it is important for the ministry responsible for the implementation of the BANJUL Road Rehabilitation Project to do what they're supposed to do, more particularly the reconstruction of the main ring canal, which we believe was one of the main reasons why we suffered from the flash flood last year. Currently, we have seen that there is some work that they are doing, but we want it to be fast-tracked. Why we are saying this is because, like I said, we don't want the situation last year to reoccur this year. Because as I am talking to you right now, families are still suffering. We tried by all means to provide support, to be honest. But still, families, it's taking time for families to recover because a lot of properties were lost during the process. So in that regards, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, member for Banjul North. I now recognize the member for Ilyasa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I want to recognize first the presence of the Vice President and Cabinet Ministers present here today. First of all, I want to start by thanking His Excellency, the President, Adama Barrow, for fulfilling his constitutional mandate, addressing the nation on that fateful day. Honorable Speaker, in general, the President's speech, definitely we need to commend the President for taking the right direction. Honorable Speaker, the President is development-oriented. And as National Assembly members, we should support the President and his development agenda. When we support the President in his development agenda, that means we support ourselves. So it is incumbent upon us to give our full support to the President so that he can realize his dreams as planned. Honorable Speaker, coming to agriculture, agriculture, the government is spending huge amount on agriculture. But at the end, what we realize sometimes is not good. And I think we need to do something. As government is spending money, the aim and the objective of the government is to achieve something. But this is not realized. And then people are complaining the high price of commodities in this country. I think we need to do something in order to bail ourselves from this situation. And that is, to my own thinking, let us go back to the farm land. The Gambia, we are blessed. We have very good land where we can grow what we eat. But is this happening? And we can do it when we are ready. We can grow enough rice in this country that we can use. But this is not happening. So I'm urging, the Vice President is here. From the Vice President down, the Speaker, honorable members, let's pave way. We go back to the farm. There we can bail ourselves from this situation. But without doing that, it is going to be difficult, and we will keep on crying the high price of commodities. Because we cannot do anything. We are importing these goods to this country. So we cannot condition them to have that low price. It's not possible. So we need to change our habit. It's difficult to say, but let's go back to the farm if we want to arrest this situation. Honorable Speaker, fisheries and water resources. A lot of boreholes have been dug in the many communities, but still these boreholes are there, nothing is done. Under some communities, definitely, especially my constituency, they are suffering. I could remember a week before last, I visited a village in one of the villages in my constituency. And it's so unfortunate, I saw people using their donkey carts and horse carts with full of 20 liters gallons of water coming from a nearby village in Senegal. When I asked these people, they said their borehole, the borehole which was provided by Jar Oil, had a problem. So they had to go to Senegal to fetch water. And then they charged them each gallon, which is definitely, that condition is horrible. So I know the Ministry of Water Resources is doing a lot, but let them speed up so that we can save our people from that condition. Definitely that day I was shocked, I was about to cry. It's a difficult situation these people are facing. So I think we should do something to save our people from such conditions. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to resume my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, member for Ilyasa. I now give the floor to the member for Serekunda.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to join my colleagues to thank the President, the Vice President, and Cabinet Ministers for fulfilling their call for duty. And I will equally thank the Minister of Finance for giving us an overview of our economy, which shows us that our economy is not doing well to meet the demands of the citizens. As a result, it has subjected the people to both economic and financial challenges to a degree that there is an outcry of the citizens ranging from high cost of living, high prices of essential commodities, rent, etc. So this means that we must change as a country the revenue generating mechanisms that is available by investing in areas that will earn revenues for the country in order to fulfill the demands of the people. So I would like to advance some of the observations that I have made in the SONA speech. In the area of health, there is a vulnerable group of citizens who are not factored. That is the people with mental health challenges. There is a high influx of people with mental health challenges in our communities, and there are instances that these people become very arrogant and commit some crimes within the community. So they need to be looked at. There is a need to construct a mental health hospital to take care of these citizens. My question is always that, is it because they are not voting for us? That's why they are left behind. This is something that we need to think of. A government should take care of all citizens, regardless to your affiliation, religion, creed, or whatever. The second one will go to the regional government. We have not seen any policy and programs that will encourage to harmonize relationships between the local government and the ministry in order for the local councils to better serve their people. Most of the revenue lines of councils have been taken by the central government, left with little revenues to take care of things that they cannot take care of. If you go to the Local Government Act, Part 2, there are responsibilities given to the councils and the local government. So there is a need for the central government to sit with the local councils and map out the things that are feasible for the local government to carry on. Another thing, my colleague have highlighted that is, most of our communities suffer from disasters. At times, we brand them as natural disasters, whilst they are not. They are in the opposite. So when will NDMA graduate from disaster mitigation to disaster risk reduction? Honorable Speaker, we are putting a blind eye on something that used to be a burden, which is now a resource, that is waste. There are no policies on waste management. I was lucky to join a team of the Greater Banjul, the municipalities in the Greater Banjul area to Barcelona, and we have worked with the administrative metropolitan area of Barcelona regarding to waste management, and currently there is a project ongoing, but still we are not supported by the Ministry of Local Government. We were told that candidate sites have been identified for landfill management. The only landfill or dump site, we call it, available within the Greater Banjul area is in the midst of settlements. Honorable Speaker, another thing that I observed here is when you talk to the people in our communities, they will tell you that councils are responsible for feeder roads, whilst there is no mapping of the highways and the feeder roads. It is about time for Ministry of Works, in partnership with the councils and the national road authorities, to identify the secondary roads and the highways. Honorable Speaker, in my community of Serekunda, there are roads that were constructed but left to be dilapidated over the years, and no attention is put on that. Another thing that I observed was the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. Are we really promoting our culture? What do we do to incorporate our culture in the tourism package? There is a need to support our local artists who are in the entertainment industry. How do we do that? In most developed countries, 75% of the music played in their radio stations should be local music. That's how you make people get used to their culture. Honorable Speaker, as I said earlier before, we know what our problems are. Problems have been highlighted in this August chamber, and solutions have always been advanced. But do we absorb it, like many speakers have said here? This is our country. We are all equals in this country. So it is about time for us to listen to each other carefully and pick sense out of what we say so that we can move this country forward. Another thing would go to like sports, Minister of Youth and Sports. What are the policies to incorporate sports? Sports is only limited to football as per the SONA, martial art, and whatever. But there are other sporting areas which are neglected. So we need to support sports. Only sports alone can earn this country a lot of revenue. So, Honorable Speaker, on that note, I would like to submit. And thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Serekunda. I now recognize the member for Banjul Central. The member for Central Badibu, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have a very important address before us. But I have to really show my dismay to this Parliament and my unhappiness as far as the state of Northern address is concerned. Honorable Speaker, looking at the introduction, I quote, Mr. Speaker, lest my address is mistakenly perceived as an activity report, let me explain that it is a precise outline of how my government fared during the 2023 legislative year, which highlights provided on key milestones, setbacks, plans, and legislative matters of direct importance to this Assembly. Honorable Speaker, going to section 77, the executive powers and the National Assembly. The President shall at least once in each year attend a sitting of the National Assembly and address a session on the condition of the Gambia, the policies of the government, and the administration of the state. But what we have here is very skeletal. There is nothing to debate on this document as far as the policies are concerned. Honorable Speaker, we have a lot that is happening in this country that needs serious policies, ideas, and programs, and I believe the Parliament should be well informed by the President. In his statement, he said successes or achievements. So, by looking at this, there are a lot of institutions that are missing in this document. And we are here, it's only once that we have the President to face us or to talk to us. So we believe this opportunity should be utilized well. Honorable Speaker, I try to look at it, and I have a few points to make. In terms of agriculture, the President talks about maize and wheat from Ukraine. Since time immemorial, we know that Gambia has been cultivating coos or millet, and this is what we feed on for breakfast and dinner. Breakfast mono, dinner chere. This has been here. So why are we depending on Ukraine for this? If there's a war in Ukraine, should that stop us to cultivate our traditional crops that we can enjoy and use it as food? And they are very healthy. Honorable Speaker, the President talks about inflation. We all know that the world is in crisis, but the inflation that is happening here need to be really looked at. Gambia is not going on a straight line as far as the economy is concerned. This is really threatening 13.7. So we are almost in double digits. Honorable Speaker, looking at the report, the President talked about remittances are very low. They will be low. We cannot depend on people for our survival. The people out there, they also have business to run. They are paying their electricity, their bills, their water bills. So how do we expect them to be sending money to us? It's not possible. Honorable Speaker, I believe the President should tell us how can we solve these problems. The former President once said, Nila buntu be money, lunkilimbe sot lebitalete siman auto control. So we cannot entirely and wholly depend on remittances as a country. Honorable Speaker, looking at the good governance of this country, he talks about it. Yes, we all should celebrate. Now there are things that are happening that we call good governance. We have to salute the government. And the government is all of us, either the legislature, judiciary, or the ministers, I mean as Gambia. Honorable Speaker, but yet still, we have seen to read that the same president will go on a campaign, political platforms, lambasting, caricaturing, castigating people. We don't expect that from a president. The president left us here that very fateful day and said we have to be united as a country and we have to make sure that we promote peace and unity. And he went there to caricature a leader of a political party. Is that a peace? It's not calling for peace. We expect us to debate on issues that will promote our relationship, not to caricature or to abuse each other.
Order, please, Honorable Majority Leader. And
if you want to say something, I can allow you to. No. I will finish you if you come. Honorable Speaker, coming to health. The honorable member of BANJUL made mention, we want the president to tell us about the Akai, the famous Akai. We need to know. Honorable Speaker, victim reparation bill. In the report, we have numerous bills, every institution, bill. We have some laws that can help us without the bills. And I believe we need to act now. Even the corruption that we're talking about, there are relevant sections of this constitution that do not promote corruption. There are laws that can still be used to combat corruption. Whether the anti-bill corruption pass or not, we still have good laws in this country that can take care of the corruption. Honorable Speaker, tourism, we are so much shocked what we saw in the report or in the statement. We expect the president to be telling us some of the achievements that Honorable Minister did by constructing the ecologies, the setbacks. Still now, there are a lot of money invested into those ecologies, but we yield nothing. Honorable Speaker, I know time is not on my side. I will conclude by religious tolerance. I believe the president should also talk about that. It's high time, Gambia, we look at how we live. Christians and Muslims have been living in this country for quite a long time, but now we have a threat. And we should not allow insurgencies or Islamic fundamentalism or religious fundamentalism to eat the fabric of our society. Let's live as one people. Let's tolerate. Let us accept. Even if you are a Buddhist or you are a traditional religion worshipper, we need to tolerate you and accept you. Thank you for your kind attention.
thank you, Member for Central Badibu. I now recognize the member for Brikama North and Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Section 77 of the Constitution that mandated the President to at least once in a year to come and address the session of the National Assembly. And then Section 24 of the Standing Orders went further to give that mandate to the President. Of course, it's added that the said appearance of the President should be in the first quarter. Last year, we called on the President to honor this clause of the Standing Orders. And as much as he respects the Constitution, we also advise him to respect our standing orders. However, there has been improvement. Last year was in the last quarter, and this year is in the second quarter. Today, we are reaffirming that reminder and calling on the President to adhere to this vital principle, that is to appear in the first quarter. It is in the better interest of presenting his program at the right time, so that when you present the program, you can make the best assessment of the previous year. And then at the very beginning of the particular year, you can give the forecast of the programs that you envisage for the particular year. It is in that spirit that the standing orders is calling on the President to appear in the first quarter. Honorable Speaker, I want to refer you to the ruling on the Speaker 53K. There was a motion passed by, about to be passed by Honorable Member for Busumbala, that was supposed to call on the President to appear before the National Assembly. Yes, 77-3, or 1 rather, or 2-3, 77-3 indicated the Vice President shall answer in the National Assembly for matters affecting the President, and the President shall be entitled to send a message on the
Honorable
77-3 of the Constitution.
Okay, Constitution.
Of the Constitution. And however, 77-2 also stated that the National Assembly may request the President to attend to sitting of the National Assembly for discussion of a matter of the national importance. The Speaker made a ruling based on Standing Order 53K, and 53K of the Standing Orders ruled that a motion agreed by the Speaker to be a matter of urgency. That is to the discretion of the Speaker. And then the Speaker ruled that he was not consulted prior to the motion. I think this is where the Speaker is getting it.
Point of order.
Yes.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Yes,
yes,
member
I'm writing on order
Opasalo.
29.1, which reads...
Yes, can you comment?
Sure. It says every member shall restrict... Order 29.1. 29.1. So it reads every member shall restrict his or her observations to the subject under discussion. The member is actually referring to what the Honorable Member for Busumbala wanted to say. So in fact, he's been preemptive of what he wanted to say. The motion was never mentioned, and it was not part of what the President was saying. So we must restrict our observation on what the President actually has said or what he has missed in this document. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, member for Opasalo. Point of order sustained, and the honorable member for Birkama North and minority leader is actually bringing on the issues or a matter that was raised here, and the Speaker ruled on it, and there are process and procedures if you so disagree with the ruling of the Speaker. Honorable member, please proceed.
Yeah, I want to believe the Speaker made a ruling during the State of Nation address made by the Speaker on 53K, and I'm making reference.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Point of order.
And I'm making reference.
Honorable member, please put off your mic. There is a point of order from nominated member Kebalang Fofana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm rising on order A3, which A3, 3 yes, which states that the Speaker's ruling shall be final on all questions of procedure and order. Honorable Speaker, the particular issue which the honorable member for Birkama North is deliberating on was really a judgment have been passed by the Speaker. And currently we are debating on the State of the Nation address by the President, which was delivered here last week. And there is nowhere in the summary report of 2023 where the motion of the member from Birkama and Busumbala was mentioned. So the Speaker's ruling needs to be respected, and if at all he does not agree with it, there are procedures to follow, but not to really open it at this particular moment in time. Thank you.
Order sustained. The member for Birkama North and the minority leader, please, when you take the floor, please proceed and continue with your debate on the State of the Nation address. And as the Honorable Speaker ruled earlier on, if you want to bring in any issues or matter with regards to his ruling, there are processes and procedures. And of course, please, let's continue.
Honorable Speaker, let me refer you back to 77.2. And I will buttress on this particular 77.2.
Of the?
That is not the ruling of the Speaker, that's the Constitution. That is the Constitution.
All right, please proceed.
We have the 77.1, and then in addition, we have the 77.2. Then matters that the National Assembly may request the President to attend a sitting of the National Assembly for discussion of a matter of national importance. Honorable members, the Vice President has a role to play, likewise the President. The onus lies on us if we consider the state of nation as in a matter of national importance for the President to appear in person and then attend to discussion of those matters. It is high time we set the ball rolling from honestly for the President for at least once a year to be with the National Assembly members in terms of discussion of issues that are of pertinent importance to the nation. And we cannot have anything more than that of the State of the Nation address. Having made that, Honorable Speaker, my colleague, the member for Central Badibu, reminded the President not only, I would say not only this year, referring us to the sectors for detail of his speech. I think this is State of Nation address. One will never expect that any speech or statement to be 100% inclusive of all the issues. But to make reference that if we want to have detail, we go to other sectors, I think that has to stop. It happened 2022, and then 2023 also, it has happened. In fact, 2022, somebody said that this is not a report. But in the 2022 State of Nation added, the President advised that the detail of this is attacked, a report is attached to it, and a report was prepared and given to us. This time around, it's the statement, there was no report. Precisely, it's the President that called it a report. And if this year is a different tune, I think there should be that consistency. We expect that there should be adequate information surrounding all sectors, not for us to be referred to the sector ministries. If the President has nothing for us, let it be. Or else I will not bother myself to come here, because if I need the minister at any time, I will go to the minister. So it is President who should be coming and tell us what he has for us, not for him to refer us to the ministers for detail of what he should give to us. I think that has to stop. Honorable Minister, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Vice President, the introduction, I observed that there was recognition of the office, the executive offices, including the former Vice President, the Speaker of the National Assembly, but there was no recognition as far as the office of the Chief Justice is concerned. If it's an error, that should be corrected. If the President has to address the National Assembly and salute all important offices, the office of the Chief Justice is important, because he called that the three arms of the state need to work together. And now if we are recognizing the three arms should be recognized. Recognizing the two and leaving one, I think that should not happen again. Under finance, you refer to page 8 and page 6 of finance. Page 8 of finance, paragraph 8. Apart from the government's commitment to the medium-term economic fiscal framework 2023 to improve the macro-fiscal ability, the new Green Recovery Progress Focused National Development Plan has the cabinet approval and preparation are underway to launch it. Honorable Speaker, last year we were informed, in the last year's speech, we were informed that this particular recovery program was on the formulation stage. And in addition, there is what is called the long-term development vision program that started. However, there has not been any update as far as this long-term development vision program is mentioned. The initial one, that one has come to replace the National Development Plan. And this one is supposed to replace the Vision 2020. If we are informed that this one has been approved, how about this particular vision that's supposed to last for 50 years? We should be informed about that as well, and that was not captured in the report. The Interior Ministry, the President thanked the Ministry for reduction of the crisis, the number of cases in the country, and called on the police to redouble. I want to know that the police are under-equipped as far as mobility is concerned. If you want the police to do more work, the police station should be fully equipped. They need to have the mobility so that they can do their work. If they are not mobile, it will be very difficult for them to do their work. Immigration, a tune of over $100,000, they said has been raised by immigration for the year. $100 million or more has been raised by the immigration. I think that is on a low side. This is an area where there are a lot of avenues for immigration to raise funds. If at the end of the year they can only raise for 100 million, I think that is on a low side. They need to check where the leakages are so that the money can be properly collected and then saved. We cannot leave open all the areas that we are tapping from. The leakages that we have, I know immigration, if it is properly checked and controlled, they can raise more than 100 million. On construction, a lot of roads have been mentioned that construction are going on. At one point, Honorable Speaker, the President was at Brikama and informed the people of Brikama that the Brikama-Mandinari Highway will be constructed. And then Brikama, Kasakunda, Nyonfele to Gunyu Road will be constructed. Recently, he's laying foundation stone. We are yet to see the commencement of construction of those roads. And he's going crisscrossing everywhere. The ones that were approved by the National Assembly in 2020, parallel supplementary budget, up to now, he's not laying those foundation stones. I must commend the Vice President, at least, where he lives in Fararo Bonjakunda. That should be a link road to the main Buffalo Road that was supposed to start construction since 2020, has not started. And where Vice President lives, that road is part of the road that's supposed to be constructed. Can you put your blessing, the Vice President, so that where you have that link road, link to, you can go there, Brikama Buffalo Road. That is what is going to make that road very important. If you construct that road, the main road, Brikama Buffalo Road, is not constructed, it will, I'm not saying the road will not be meaningless, but what will add more value to it is that construction of the main road. On that note, I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. The honorable member for Central Badibu yesterday was accused of probably lobbying, and also the member for Same. The member for Same was lobbying for and on behalf of us from CRR North. But the minority leader and member for Brikama North, thank you very much, and that was a very powerful lobby. The Vice President himself should join you to lobby for the construction of your roads. Thank you very much. I now give the floor to the member for Combo South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Let me join my colleagues to thank His Excellency the Vice President for being here, which is a constitutional requirement, and I think it's very important. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we need to respect the Constitution. The Constitution is the document that is taking care of all development programs, good governance, and ensuring that security is adhered to. And this constitutional provision of having the President to come and address the National Assembly is very important and is very paramount and is the key to all our development processes that we are going to do for the given year. So this has been highly stipulated in the 1997 Constitution and Section 24 of our Standing Orders, 2020 revised. Honorable Speaker, I am very much disappointed that there are key ministries that we have not seen here since we started the debate on the President's presentation. And I am very passionate about those ministries or departments. The Ministry of Gender is not being represented here, and it's a very key ministry in this country as far as we are concerned. Honorable Speaker, it is the only ministry that can alleviate poverty in this country and ensure that the livelihoods of our rural people and our young people are harnessed. We can only do that through the support of the programs that have been enshrined and the act that came in place, which was ascended to by His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia on the 20th day of October 2020. Very important legislative agenda that is going to help these people to move out of poverty. Poverty is the bedrock of disorder and disobedience in our communities. So this program for me is very important. If the minister is on other assignments, statutory meetings and also, but the technicians need to be here, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am saying that from now henceforth, the office of the Speaker and the clerk and its authority should ensure that they make sure that all the ministers are properly informed and to be here on time. If they are on official assignments, let's have their technocrats. Let's have their technocrats from the minister. In some departments, you have about 3 deputy permanent secretaries who are there, and you have so many directors and sector heads who can be here to represent the
Please. Yes, honorable member for Combo South, I agree with you. And in fact, yesterday, I repeated it, I think twice, to His Excellency the Vice President, and this morning. And those that are here, they should come. And I also, in my earlier rulings, one of those sessions here, I ruled that whenever we are discussing matter, even committee report, a particular sector, their technicians and ministers should be here. So that because the contributions of members of parliament will serve to add value to whatever they are doing, and then to encourage them and to come and respond to issues, and if members raise concern, that will help to galvanize effort in improving the life and livelihood of the people that we represent. They are the action officers, and implementing they will be able to do that. And this morning also I reiterated that to His Excellency the Vice President to make sure that those ministers who are within the country come in and also come with their technicians. Yesterday I have to stop and I said I haven't seen any permanent secretaries or any technicians here. We have said this and we wrote to His Excellency the Vice President and also inform all permanent secretaries and ministers to be here. And I understand even yesterday, for example, the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources, he wasn't here. But on the weekend, he told me he will not be here yesterday, but he will send his permanent secretary to be here to take notes, and he was here. And we encourage our colleagues, ministers, to also prioritize Parliament in accordance with the Constitution, so that we will all work together to improve, and that those that are here and they are not. And then the Minister for Works, for example, he was on an official mission outside the Gambia. He was there yesterday with youth and sports and water resources, but these people, they were represented. So I appeal on His Excellency the Vice President and other ministers to get in their technicians and all of them to join us here, and also the adjournment debate also, we expect all of them also to be here, just to improve and collectively we move this country. I cannot agree more, Honorable Member. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think that's what we need to do. Honorable Speaker, I must say that I feel very honored to see the Minister responsible of the Ministry of Public Service, Administrative Reforms and Policy Coordination. I have worked with this gentleman in the civil society organizations. We, at the level of the civil society organization, had prepared him to be working with us and ensuring that the policy directions of the government from the civil society are adhered to. And when he was leaving to be permanent secretary at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, we were worried, looking at the situation at that time of civil servants and the position that they are going to play. But he put his head above the waters to ensure that the Gambia is what he sees, and that's the Gambia that he wants to push. And he has put that agenda. Nobody in this hall here can tell us that the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education does not live to expectations in those years, from 2006 up to the time we had the change in 2017. So I'm always very passionate because I have worked with him and I know the caliber that he has and what he is able to do. So honorable colleague ministers, you have an asset, and this is somebody that you need to work with to ensure the development paradigms. I will borrow the word of our sectarian. We have to look at the development paradigm of this country and ensure that we work together to move this agenda of this government. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to thank my colleague and also former Permanent Secretary, Minister of Basic and Secondary Education, to be part of this Parliament and then to work towards the development of this country. Honorable Speaker, coming to Ministry of Finance, the President spoke about the low tourist arrivals in this country and the recent advance to that were not given. As alluded to by my colleague from Central Badib, these eco-lodges that are being constructed, 5 of them, and the Tourism Committee had gone through that, and the Petition Committee is looking at those issues. Honorable Speaker, I think these are very important things. That's the only way we can improve South-South cooperation and also internal tourism in this country, where people, Gambian people, do not travel so that they know what is happening in our respective regions. Those ecologies are very important. Nothing is being said about that, Honorable Speaker. And I think it is important that the Minister is here to give us updates and highlights and what are the results since the laying of foundations of these things. I think we need to have a better word to be used in this country instead of using laying foundations, because they will never work. The foundations will never come up. Honorable Speaker, looking at the Ministry of Finance, the President do not talk about corruption. Corruption is eating up this country. Barely a week goes in, you will not see an article on the front page of the newspapers talking about corruption. 2 days ago, Standard newspaper is saying that 22 million of the assets that were sold, of the assets of the former president that were sold, cannot be accounted for. Honorable Speaker, I think it's about time. Let us forget about the anti-corruption bill and let's use the Constitution and all the financial instruments that are in place that is there to deal with corruption. Unless we do that, this country is going to sink and we are going to be a failed nation. To do that, it is the responsibility of the Minister of Justice, the permanent secretaries, and also the National Assembly, especially FPAC committee. We need to take the bull by the horn to ensure those who are part of these things are dealt with and as per the law of this country, especially in the constitution and all the financial rights, they are very clear about it. Honorable Speaker, they must talk about the OIC conference for the Republic of the Gambia. The President is telling us again, the Gambia may host this thing in December. What are the preparedness of the Gambia government? What is happening to the construction of the five-star hotel? The famous five-star hotel, what is happening to it? What is our situation? And if we are not careful as a nation, when we are going to host this OIC, most of these kings and other hierarchy monarchies who are going, they are going to book their hotels in Dakar. They will not come to Banjul. The capacity is not there. The hotels are not ready. They are coming with their jets. It's 20 minutes from Dakar to Banjul. They will go to King Faisal. They will go to Radisson Blu, and they will go to all those five-star hotels and be traveling to Banjul for the meeting. So, Honorable Speaker, I think the Minister of Finance is not here. We need to make sure that, and also the Minister of Works and Infrastructure, that five-star hotel should be ready by November to ensure that the Gambia is prepared for this OIC project. Honorable Speaker, let me come to the gender, Ministry of Gender, that is this, the Women Enterprise Fund. This is very important, and as I said, this is the only agency that can get the Gambia out of poverty. Let me give you a quick synopsis, Honorable Speaker, about Grameen Bank in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is one of the poorest countries in the world, and it's also one of the highly populated countries in this world. A professor who was at a lecturer at Harvard University in the United Kingdom decided to go back to Bangladesh to get the poorest people out of poverty in Bangladesh in 1976. And he set up what is called the Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank was established in 1983 and is one of the leading financial microfinance agencies, which was started by Professor Yunus with an amount of only $27. $27, Honorable Speaker. Today, that Grameen Bank is one of the leading banks and the most progressive bank, People's Bank, in the country. As of May 2023, the accumulative loans of the Grameen Bank is $152 million. That was given to over 80,000 people in Bangladesh, and it has a recovery rate of 96.4. If the President can come and tell us the accumulative recovery rate of the National Enterprise Fund is stood at 70 and 53, there is no microfinance institution that can collect 70 and you're making it a progress. It is already a failed project. Because the accumulative, as alluded to by the member from, it's not in today, from Jara West. If you look at the accumulative, 15 million, 17 million, and 32 million out of the total amount of 68 million that was disbursed. Honorable Speaker, if care is not taken, the National Enterprise Fund is going to be history. And if you look at the composition of the board, and I think it's also important that we have the Minister of Finance here. It says, I'm referring you to part 3 of the Enterprise Fund, establishment, composition, and functions of the Women Enterprise Fund Governing Board. The composition, which says a chairperson appointed by the President in consultation with the Public Service, a fund manager who shall be the secretary to the board. And the other members are Permanent Secretary, Ministry responsible of Women Affairs, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry responsible of Trade, Permanent Secretary, Minister responsible of Finance, Permanent Secretary, Ministry responsible for Agriculture, representative from the Central Bank, representative of the Gambia Women Chambers, representative from Bankers Association, representative of the National Federation of Gambian Women, representative from the Women's Wing of the Gambia Federation of Disabled, 2 persons representing the Women Council and the civil society organization. This is the most composed of highly qualified intellectuals of this country. And if they don't manage this properly, Gambia will never get out of poverty. And you know why the Grameen Bank is sustainable and progressive? They have principles that was led by Professor Yunus. It's called the 15 principles, the 16 principles of the Grameen Bank that determines the behavior and the procedures and the ways that people are going to behave towards the cultivation and also taking of this thing. Honorable Speaker, I do not have time. That's why I was against this idea of 15 minutes. But what I want to say, I am very much disappointed again, Honorable Speaker. The Ministry of Trade, there is no mention of the appointment of Dr. Aliou Badara Toure as the President of the ECOWAS Commission. Dr. Aliou Badara Toure is currently the President of the ECOWAS Commission. ECOWAS Commission is the most powerful institution in West Africa.
Dr. Omar Toure.
Dr. Omar Toure, yes. Omar Aliou Toure. Omar Toure, yeah. Dr. Omar Aliou Toure. ECOWAS Commission is the most powerful institution in West Africa. And that is headed by a Gambian. And I want to thank the former permanent secretary of the Ministry of Trade, Demba Sisao, and also the current foreign minister, who had worked with his team, and we lobbied to ensure that this comes to the Gambia. This is an opportunity for the Gambia, and we need to celebrate our people. Honorable Speaker, and I want to urge the Ministry of Trade and Industry, regional integration, to have hourly programs over the radio stations to talk about the ECOWAS Commission. It is the Gambia that is leading that important institution. And Dr. Umar Toure is going to be the head of that institution for the next 4 years. And he has a cabin, and he is very lucky to have that cabin there. The former two ministers, finance ministers of the Gambia are part of his cabin. Ibu Koli, Abdul Koli, and also Mamburenjai is there, and we have our legal person there. And the head of the legal division of the ECOWAS Commission is also a Gambian. Honorable Speaker, this we have to celebrate, and we need to do that. So I want to urge through you and the Vice President, Your Excellency, ECOWAS Commission programs and activities should be aired on a weekly basis or monthly basis so that the people know about what we are doing. And I have the 4-point agenda of His Excellency, the President of the ECOWAS Commission. This is a very powerful man. He is a very powerful man. This is the 4 commissions, and I am leaving this with the library unit here, and all ministries should try to get a copy of this thing. Honorable Speaker, coming to agriculture, that's my favorite. I have worked with that ministry, and it is the most composed ministry in this country, but it is a total failure. Agriculture ministry is the only ministry with 3 deputy permanent secretaries, a permanent secretary, 5 director generals, 8 heads of directors, and also the regional officers. Honorable Speaker, agriculture is failing us. Why do you have to talk about the issue of a fertilizer policy when you are not talking about composition and how do we do to ensure organic production in this country to improve the quality? Please, I beg, Honorable Speaker, I want to give you the highlight.
Honorable.
Yes, use your discretion. Use your discretion, Honorable Speaker. You can use your discretion. Yeah.
Honorable members, I'm not sure what is happening yesterday and today, but we have good lobbies. Please, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. That is, thank you very much. Finally, lands and regional governance, lands and regional governance. Land is a problem. Combo South, we are in a very problem with our land. And Combo South, somebody died in March 2019. It took the Gambia police force 2 years to locate that person. The people of Gunjur used their strategies and lobbies, were able to get hold of that person. He was brought to the prisons and the case was in police. On a broad daylight, the prison officers opened the door and allowed that man to escape. He's nowhere to be found. The boundary between Gunjur and Berending is, we are sitting on a time bomb. And I told you, the people of Combo South fought for the independence well before, in the 18th century. Fode Ibrahim Kabasila is the only person who fired guns at the British Empire to ensure that the people of Gunjur have their integrity and their peace, and that is why we will continue to do it. Berending was founded in 2019. A small boy from Kian West cannot come and stay in Combo South and say he's claiming ownership of land in this country. Honorable Speaker, this is very serious. This is very serious, and it is something that the local government ministry has to work on. Finally, Honorable Speaker.
There is point of order.
Point of order.
There is point of order by the member Kunda.
Small boy from Kia. I want him to withdraw that statement.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, there is the point of order.
Honorable Commissar, point of observation.
Proceed.
Point of observation.
Commissar, go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, finally, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is very silent on the deportation of Gambian young people from Europe. And I want him to tell us, why is this deportation taking place? A lot of young people are coming and they are causing havoc in the neighborhood, because when they come back home, before they resettle, it's a lot of things. So I want the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to tell us, why is this deportation taking place for the young people of this country? And finally, the Constitution. Please, Ministry of Justice, bring this draft Constitution back. We are going to the polls in 2026, and we need to have a Constitution that it will test the time to ensure that we have good governance, probity, and accountability in our country. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Combo South. I now recognize the member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for availing me the opportunity. And also I want to thank the Honorable, His Excellency, the Vice President, for being with us since yesterday, even though you have a busy schedule, and by extension to the ministers present. I also want to seize this opportunity to make my submissions with regards to the nation's address by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. And by extension, Vice President, I think all that we want you to do for us here is to help in extending our messages to the President of the nation, because we could have actually preferred to have him before us, to have that direct engagement with him as it has been prescribed in his speech. However, Honorable Speaker, I just want to look at his introductory, that is on page 4, number 1, and I read, I always look forward to my annual engagement with this august body because it offers us the opportunity to interact formally as a constitutional requirement and informally as fellow citizens and complementary partners in the cause of national development. We can agree that what is being enshrined in the Constitution, that is in section 77, is for him to have that annual engagement with us. But we are not really very sure if really what is presented before us has anything to do with addressing the issues that we are challenged with in this country. And I would start with to look at some of the issues he actually talked about during the SONA. And also I will try to limit my deliberations, more especially on the committees I represent. And to start with will be the Ministry of Agriculture, because this is one of the committees I am actually representing. I think a lot have been said around agriculture, and I wouldn't dwell much around it, but again, to still challenge the Honorable Minister and his lieutenants to make more efforts in ensuring that we realize food self-sufficiency. Last year, when we went for a tour, it was really disheartening. I said this last time here. Looking at the NEMA projects, the FASDA projects, they were total failures. Looking at those projects, what it entails in those projects was actually to address agriculture through youth and women. But again, if you make your consultations, you will realize that these two sectors have not been benefiting as required. And the excuses have been a director have died, been replaced by another director, and for those reasons, the projects cannot actually progress. Come now, we have what you call the Roots Project. We have not seen anything being reported by the President of the Republic of the Gambia with regards to some of those projects, considering the grants that are involved to execute some of those projects, because it's over $3 billion that are involved in some of these projects, and it seems we are not realizing anything. Currently, the Ministry of Agriculture is circulating some marketing materials, that is with regards to the mini grants, as to young people benefiting from it. And what I saw so far is the ministry dishing out $450,000 to agro-youth entrepreneurs, whilst in reality, all that they are giving to these young people is $150,000. And I got these feedbacks from the youth farmers, from the direct beneficiaries of some of these grants. And I think the Ministry of Agriculture should do the Gambian populace a favor in ensuring that what is actually required for the citizens to benefit, for it to be given out as required. Most of the members have been saying the ministry should be moved to rural Gambia. I may disagree. I don't think it's really what we need. Looking at what the president stated in his address, he said he really wants to prioritize mechanized agriculture. Yes, I might agree, mechanized agriculture might be a solution for this nation, but also I think it needs to be looked at in a diverse way, more especially around integrated agriculture. Agriculture is an area that actually interlinks. So if you separate them, having rice at this sect, having crop at this sect, having animal husbandry at this sect, wouldn't really add much value to the sector. So I definitely want to challenge the Ministry of Agriculture through your office to actually revitalize agriculture in this country and ensuring that we get what we want. I also want us to look at youth and sports, because it's also a community, that I represent. And with youth and sports, sometimes, yes, we would blame the Ministry of Youth and Sports for not doing much for the young people of this country. But then I think, or I want to believe that the political will or commitment is definitely lacking when it comes to promoting youth development in this country. So as such, I definitely want to challenge the executive to look at that particular sector, more especially separating the youth sector from the sports sector, because looking at the budget that is being committed to the Ministry of Youth and Sports, chunk of it will go to sports and then leave the development or empowerment of young people to be vulnerable. And I think these two ministries or these two sectors need to be separated into two ministries wherein we can realize progress in that particular sector. On the youth and sports as well, I also want to challenge His Excellency the Vice President to also look at the skill sector. I want to believe that there is a huge gap in the skill sector. Looking at what has been reported by the President, we have not seen any strategy that actually has directed to address some of those challenging issues. Even the deportation we're talking about. I want to believe that most of our young people who have been deported is for the simple reason that most of them didn't acquire the rightful skill in order to stay in some of these countries. And I think one thing we should be committed to is developing our youth for a career that can actually enhance development, not just in the Gambia, but globally. Also, with the same youth and sports, the President have talked about the development levy. And I think in 2022 or in 2023, if my mind can serve me well, over 100 and so million was committed to that levy. And the levy was meant to address recreational facilities for our young people. And since then, nothing has been done. And all that we have been hearing from the said ministry is the contractors have not been doing what was expected of them. It has been like a blame game as usual. And we want to challenge your office through the Ministry of Youth and Sports to actually look into some of these things, because as much as sports is developing in this country, I also want to believe that we need the needful facilities to actually give the young people what they need in our respective communities. If this sector, if they are not engaged by the government, by the rightful institutions, at some point they would definitely engage themselves, and that could lead to some negative factors in our development. Also, I want us to look at tourism and culture. Yes, we have been seeing agriculture and tourism have been the backbone of our GDP. But again, looking at what is being reported by the government, more especially with number one, it says the National Council for Arts and Culture is working with UNESCO as a regulation, that is page 34, as a regulation for National Endowment Fund for Arts. Yes, there are huge potentials around our culture and arts industry. But then I still want to challenge the Vice President, or I want to challenge the Ministry of Tourism and Culture to actually find time to do proper mappings, to actually identify what would be the tastes and needs of both the domestic market and the international market, wherein these two can be merged to attract numbers in this country, not just numbers, but also high spenders to destination Gambia. And also in the tourism industry, I think as well we need some adjustments, more especially considering the way the TDA is being sold out to foreign investors. I think just recently, sometime last week, I was privileged to an interview with an investor in the Gambia who claimed to own Jarma Beach Hotel. But unfortunately, he is still fighting with others in order to retrieve back what he believes legally belongs to him, and nothing is being done. And this guy is going all over on social media, talking and coming up with different issues. And I think the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, through the Gambia Tourism Board, need to take their stand to address some of these issues. Because if we are committed to attracting foreign investors in this country, I think their interests also must be safeguarded. Not just as individuals, but also their investments need to be safeguarded. Understanding that other investors would always use such as a reference in order to be convinced to come in with their wealth to actually invest in this country. So I want to challenge the Gambia Tourism Board and the Ministry of Tourism to actually look into that. Product development is also one thing that the Ministry of Tourism need to improve on. We have the same product in this country. It has been the 3S since time of memory: sun, sun, and sea for destination Gambia. And when we say we rich in culture, when we say we rich in tradition, and so forth. But again, how much is being committed to actually invest in the product development of that particular industry, wherein the needful diversification can take place and also increase the number of visitors in this country. And okay, apart from the committees I represent, I also want us to look at the Ministry of Interior. We have been talking about security reforms in this country, and all that we have been seeing over the past is on workshops. And I also want to propose that we adjust on the reform strategies in order to achieve our target goals. A lot have been invested around this particular issue, but again, you see very little difference amongst our security apparatus, being it the police, being it the military, you name it. And the only time we can get a professional force is actually in adhering to the reform strategies. With Ministry of Justice, the TRRC recommendations and the white paper, I think the implementation need to be expedited. We have a lot of people sitting back there waiting for government commitment towards this white paper. But again, it seems a little is being done. It seems democracy in this country seems to be a lip service. And until we change our dynamics, some of these things can be addressed. Also, I would also expect that with the State of Nations address, would be looking at the NDP, that is the National Development Plan, and as well as the Sustainable Development Goals. But it seems almost each of these ministers just sat at their own leisure times to draft the precedent with a literature that would sound appealing to the general public. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be something that would actually showcase how this country can be transformed, rather than just sharing scripts that would just serve as a literature to convince the general public. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Janjambure. I now give the floor to nominated Member Kebalang Fofana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Section 77(1) of the Constitution reads, the President shall at least once each year attend a sitting of the National Assembly and address a session on the conditions of the Gambia, the policies of the government, and the administration of the state. So, Honorable Speaker, to start, I really want to commend the President and thank him for the fulfillment of his constitutional mandate, and equally recognize the presence of the Vice President and thank him for being here with us since yesterday and today as well, and recognize the presence of various ministers who've been here with us since yesterday and today as well. Honorable Speaker, I will start with the introductory remarks of the President. And to do so, I will refer you to page 4, paragraph 2 of the State of the Nation Address 2023. And with your permission, Honorable Speaker, I will read. It states, in view of our mandate within the major arms of government, we do not only represent the interests and aspirations of our people, but also form three distinct but unified and inseparable parts of the government machinery. The need for cooperation is therefore obvious. Honorable Speaker, at this point, one would tend to ask, why cooperation? And what cooperation is the President really seeking for? Cooperation between the executive, the Parliament, and the judiciary. But we are at the Parliament here, so I'll limit it to the cooperation between the Parliament and the executive. Let's look at the functions of the executive. At executive level, they draft policies, programs, strategies, do the implementation. At the level of Parliament, we scrutinize the government at every stage of what? Formulation, and at every stage of what? Implementation. We are the very ones who will scrutinize the budget and approve it. We are the very arm who will what? Legislate what? The laws. We are the very ones who will, at the end of the day, after the approval of those budgets and their actual implementation, audit reports will be conducted in accordance with the dictates of the Constitution. And those audit reports will be presented in front of what? Our committees. Honorable Speaker, what I'm trying to say here is a deeper cooperation is required if at all we have to move this country forward. I can stand here and say anything. Criticize the SONA, criticize the government, talk about corruption, talk about everything. But where do I fit in the circle of scrutiny? There is nothing that the government will implement without the approval of this House. There is no single project that the government will implement without oversight functions carried out by this National Assembly. So now let us ask ourselves, do we continue with the combative approach, or do we really go in on a proactive stand where each and every individual, each and every arm of the government will take up your utmost responsibility with one interest, and let it be Gambia? And I strongly believe that that is a loaded message, and it is an obligation upon each and every one of us as National Assembly members to ponder over it and know that it is obligatory, because we all swear to what? To serve. Do I serve by only criticizing without performing accurate oversight and scrutiny? Or do I serve by bringing my expertise on the table, being critical where there is inefficiency, providing solutions where I believe alternatives can do better? And Honorable Speaker, at this point, to continue on those deliberations, I would like to, with your permission, make a quotation from Alexander the Great, where he said, remember, upon the actions of each depends the fate of all. Upon the actions of each depends the fate of all. So which means, at our individual responsibilities, at our individual stations, we need to discharge our functions to the fullest. We need to make sure that as National Assembly members, in cooperating with the government, it doesn't mean you have to sit here and hit on the table. It doesn't mean that you have to stand there and everything that comes, whether it is good or bad, you say no. It means that you have to be rational. It means that you must have this country at heart, and that should not be lip service. Honorable Speaker, at this point, I'll move on to the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. The President did indicate that inflation is on the rise, and the effects of inflation is that it has reduced the real income of people. Now, when we say real income of people, we mean their purchasing power. We mean their command over units of goods and what? Services. We mean how much could they have bought yesterday from $5 compared to what they could have bought it for today. Honorable Speaker, that is a concern, and it requires concerted efforts. That's why we would like the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Affairs to give us some progressive reports with regards to certain monetary and fiscal policies which were pronounced in the SONA of 2023, to know how the government is faring with them. Are there gaps? Are there changes in policies? And what can we do concertedly as a government so that we can change the figures? Because if you go out there today, we are all part and parcels of what society. We have a government to promote, and we have a people to lead. And we know, with the rising inflation, the cost of basic commodities, what? Is skyrocketing. So, Honorable Vice President, since the Finance Minister is not here, in the 2022 SONA, he did indicate the medium-term economic fiscal framework, which is supposed to commence in 2022 and last up to 2026. He did also indicate the Recovery-Focused National Development Plan, which is the RFNFP, which will start from 2023 to 2027. And all of these measures were there to stimulate economic growth and recovery. We really want to know how those measures are faring vis-a-vis the current inflation, rising inflation that we are witnessing. Honorable Speaker, on domestic resource mobilization, it is refreshing to read from the SONA that domestic tax collection have increased by 5%? And also we are witnessing a 20% increment on what custom and what excise duties. And all of this can be attributed to the digitization process and the Asikuda wall or the Asikuda plus that was introduced by what? The Gambia Revenue Authority. But, Honorable Speaker, there is no way that we can attain sustainable development without harnessing the full potentials of our what? Domestic resource mobilization opportunities. Digitization should be across the board. It does not only reduce the human interface when it comes to what collection of government taxes, but what it promotes accountability, transparency, and it helps in the accumulation of our what? Sovereign wealth. So, as a parliament, concertedly with the government, we need to make sure that we transcend and reach to a stage whereby the paper trail will be completely eliminated. And I believe, I did say it here last year, and I wouldn't shy away from saying it, that if we can tighten the knots and improve on the leakages in our domestic resource mobilization, there will be no need to go out there and secure loans. There will absolutely be no need. Because if we do a lifestyle audit and look at some of the junior staffs in some of these agencies, their lifestyle against their what? Income, you really realize that there is a big gap. And that gap is existing because the status quo what? Favors them. So, Honorable Speaker, we applaud the ministry for really introducing the digitization process. We also applaud Jerry for the Asikuda Plus, but we are saying they can do more and they can do what? Better for the interest of national development. Honorable Speaker, at this point, I will move on to agriculture. Since yesterday, a lot have been said. And having listened to the general observations, many of the obstacles expressed with regards to the Ministry of Agriculture are perennial problems. Unsustainable projects. We have people there. Honorable Speaker, the time is not favoring me. You know, we said they are the ministry with the highest number of degree holders in the country, but nothing is moving. Those are perennial problems from 1965 till date. Now the question is, what can we do as a people, concertedly, to move? Because our only hope today is on the productive base of our economy. That is agriculture. We have the land. Our climatic condition is what? Favorable. We have the labor force. We have the technical capacity. Now let's ask ourselves as a people, do we have foreigners working at the Ministry of Agriculture? No. They are Gambians from 1965 till date. Every day standing here, during each and every adjournment debate, or during any debate on this honor, 20 bullets at those staff would not change it. Let's ask ourselves, at committee level in the National Assembly, where are we getting it wrong first? Put our house in order. That is the paradigm shift we need to progressively engage the Ministry of Agriculture so that we can move and enhance the productive base of our economy. And to that end, I would really like to commend the ministry for coming up with the fertilizer plan and also making sure that this year the price of fertilizer have been reduced significantly in comparison to what it cost last year. And also, most importantly, the establishment of processing companies using PPP. This is important. As a nation, it's sad to say, but we don't produce anything apart from the natural water. Apart from the natural water, we don't produce anything. So if at all the agricultural ministry is coming up with value addition so that we can transform those raw materials into finished goods, it will not only provide employment, but it will boost our exportation. This will be really good for the recovery of our economy, and it will place Gambia on a new spot when it comes to our what? Competitiveness. Honorable Speaker, Ministry of Water Resources, National Assembly Matter, Fisheries, Water Resources, and National Assembly Matters. It is reported that this particular ministry contributes almost 10% to...
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. Point of order.
Member Kebalang Fofana.
Point of order.
Your 3 seconds. There is point of order, but I'll give you 2 minutes.
Point of order.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
Point of order.
Can you please?
Point of order. 57.
Honorable Member for your Bintang, please take your seat. Take your seat. Put off your mic. Yes. Yes. There's point of order by the member for your Bintang.
Point of order. 57 CB. Clearly, the reads. Any member making good contribution should be given extra 5 minutes. And the nominated member, so I suggest you give him 5 minutes.
Honorable member for Fonyi Bintang, you are out of order. Nominated member Kebalang, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, my honorable brother. Honorable Speaker, Ministry of Fisheries, Water Resources, and the National Assembly Matters. It's reported that this particular ministry contributes almost 10% to the GDP in 2022 and also provides for over 30,000 jobs. Honorable Speaker, since I don't have much time, I will just highlight one issue there. That is the fisheries sector. Constantly, we've been having cries from the people of Sanya with regards to the fish meal factory. The National Assembly is quiet about it. We are not getting feedbacks from the ministry. I challenge the Environment Committee of the National Assembly. Let's get answers. When you go out of this country today, each and every country is trying to protect what belongs to you. We are not anti-international corporations coming to invest in the country. But the claims coming from there is the fishing nets they are using are not standard. Constantly, we are seeing dead fish being washed onto the shore. The order coming from the fish mill is another thing. Why are we silent about it? We need answers. We need remedial actions. We need to learn from that particular one. Honorable Speaker, to education.
Observation.
To education, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable nominated member, observation.
No.
Just a second.
Sorry. I just have 2 minutes. If you observe me till the finish.
It's just a clarification.
Please, 30 seconds is gone. Can I continue? Yes, Honorable Speaker, education. And to that, I just want to make a quote before any contribution. With your permission, Honorable Speaker, I would make this quotation from Peter M. Sit. He said, "Real learning gets to the heart of what it makes to be human. Through learning, we recreate ourselves. Through learning, we become able to do something we never were able to do. Through learning, we reperceive the world and our relationship to it. Through learning, we extend our capacity to create, to be part of the generative process of life. There is within us a deeper hunger for this type of learning." Honorable Speaker, our education system, with all the successes we have, we need to ask ourselves, is it producing the leadership we want?
Thank you very much, nominated member Kebalang Fofana. I now recognize the member for Fonyi Jarol.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and may I also recognize the presence of the Honorable Ministers who are very much committed and dedicated to be here with us all these days. Like I always say, we are not, or I am not here to disrespect anyone. We are here to represent people. We are here to say things as they are. When I talk about the minister, I'm not talking about the minister himself. I am talking about the office itself. I don't have any country to call home other than the country called Gambia. And I want the best for the Gambia. and I want peace to reign in this country. I want all of us equal to the law. I want all of us equal to the national cake. Honorable Speaker, allow me to start first and foremost to wish the Vice President in his appointment good luck, and also to remind him of the late Vice President, a statement he made. Unfortunately, he passed away. And then this statement that he made was about urging his fellow ministers to be ready to work, and he is ready to say the truth. If anyone did not want that truth, even if they want, they can sack him. I think he said something like this. Unfortunately, he did not live to see the realities of what is going on in this country. We look at this country we call Gambia. Maybe based on politics, some will start saying 1965 to 1994, everything was going right. 1994, when we had a dictator, everything went wrong. 2017 to 2023, when we had the Democrats, I don't know where we are, whether it's wrong or right. But we had a statement that he presented here. After his speech, I got 3 calls from 3 different people. And then the interesting thing, 2 of them are affiliated to his party. And one, maybe his comment would be, he's an opposition. The 2 people who are affiliated to his party told me, Honorable, why are you people listening to that speak? That every year is the same thing, we're not seeing anything. My reply to him jokingly was, I think it's your president, you voted for him. The opposition also mentioned the same thing. It is not wrong. Sometimes we will tend to blame the president, but this is written by the ministries or the ministers given to the president to come and then present it here for us. If you look at this country, we're talking about the new constitution. It is as if the old constitution just fell from the sky. It is like it's the old constitution that is holding the development of this country. Everybody is talking about new constitution, new constitution. I said these are just mere documents. They are not going to work in isolation. We have to change our attitude. We have to respect our offices. We have to make sure we serve the people who we represent, not about talking. Honorable Vice President, what I want to just highlight, why are we failing in the institutions? There is no equality within the institutions. The way they are treating staffs is totally unacceptable in our own country. So it is good that we have a labor bill that is coming to address a lot of issues. Like, if I go to the first topic, which is the economy, which we say relies heavily on imports for the consumption of basic commodities. What do we do to stop that? We still rely on Russia, Ukraine. I don't know next whether it's now going to be Casamance, Senegal, because for us, that's the problem. Since we cannot produce anything, we are just dependent. And anytime we become dependent, we become liabilities. This is what is happening. What are some of the activities that will improve our economy? Are we working to address those things? No. It is very unfortunate. During the election period, during the campaign period, some of us who they see as oppositions, they were visiting our communities. All they wanted to see us is just to fall out. So that maybe it's the party that wins. Is it about parties winning, or is it about competent people winning in positions? We should look at this. Campaign time, we have a lot of resources to give out to the people to ask them to vote for us. But after the elections, we don't have resources to give back to the people. I am not an opposition to government. I am a critic of the government. We have to complement. There is no economy, no government that is able to provide employment for all its citizens. It's not going to work. And the ministers cannot work in isolation. Honorable members cannot work in isolation. The president has to depend on us to move this country forward. But if we are not united, if we don't see this country first before anything, we are nowhere. Honorable Vice President, in offices, I don't know, is it the ministers, is it the PS, or is it the directors who have powers to decide who will be next to them? A minister or a director will tell you, I don't want this guy to be my deputy, and it goes. or I want this guy to be transferred to an institution, and that guy will be moved out from that institution because he wants a puppet under him or a puppet next to him. How are you going to move this country? No equality within the work institutions. Why should that happen? Let me come to the security sector, because anytime I talk, maybe I mention the security. I went around to see what is happening. And then according to the SONA report here, they said crime has recorded, let me just say recorded one, has reduced. Was it reduced because of the effort of government? Or was it reduced because of the dedication and commitment of our security forces? What are we doing for them? They are just only committed and dedicated to do it. But it's not because of government has done something for them. I remember when we had a debate here, we were promised to be given five vehicles to the securities. From Kalagi to here, no proper mobility or no proper vehicle within the security forces. And we expect them to perform well. Allowance is totally poor. I visited the PIU office. I visited some of these police stations on notice. Some they notice me because when I go now, I'm a public figure, they see me. They will call me, but I don't want to see for myself. I don't want to come and mislead anyone here. I will come and say things as they are. You like me, fine. You hate me, fine. This is about the Gambia. It's not about an individual. It's not about a party. I don't care where you belong to. Our securities are completely neglected. No allowances. I went there. How can the senior officers at the PIU head office be contributing to empty soccerways, to even to go and get firewood, to fill the vehicle to go and get them firewood for them to feed? Just go into the PIU there, walk to other police stations and see how the condition is. And then we feel that security is very important. We are here. What is going to happen to us? Let's ask the securities to go home. If you feel that they are important, wherever they are, we are here. Why are we neglecting them? No mobility, no good allowances. We can go to their sleeping place, their housing. It's all been neglected, and we want to move this country forward. I always try to define what leadership is all about. L will always stand for listening and learning about the people you lead. If you don't listen and learn from the people you lead, how are you going to work for them? It would be when you listen and learn, you will be able to engage the right people, and you'll be able to engage in the right activities that will provide something meaningful and fruitful to the people. And this is not happening. And when that happens, what would A stand for? When you engage the right people into the right position, you're going to achieve, and the deal will come forward, development. Our country misses almost everything. You look at the health sector. The SONA here is talking about bringing 5 modern hospitals and whatever and whatever. When my old health center in Kalagi, 5 years, when I'm here, 1 year I'm talking, they took an ambulance away from us. Even up to now, they cannot even replace an ambulance to them. You go there, even no paracetamol within the hospital. When I say the president is laying foundation stones everywhere, did we approve all those stones that he's laying down? We did not. The one we approved for is incomplete, it's not even started. But the laying of foundation stone is going on. Who has laid those stones for the president? Let's take politics out. Because this we are saying that to please people, these are our people. I belong to Gambia, not Fonyi. And then our roles are there. Kamanga, that all this place will go to the work plan. Honorable is already in the plan. We will implement it. Nothing is being done, but stones are laid down during the campaign election for new projects. The old projects are neglected. But if you talk here, opposition, don't listen to him. Do you think that's the way that we move this country? Honorable Minister, again, I said the TRRC, not everything that was there. Yes, some are fabricated. I will continue to say that. Some are just based on maybe to how we can hate the former president. But some of the things are real, especially what led to the 1994 coup. The securities were suppressed. Feeding for them is a problem. You look at their diet, it's totally poor, and now they are thinking of deducting $500 from the soldiers.
Honorable Speaker, point of order.
$500.
Honorable member, please take your seat. There's a point of order from the member for all Yundum.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Hear your point of order.
Under Section 29, subsection 1, strictly said you must restrict your intervention on the subject under discussion. And I think the member is going out of context. The statement of the president entirely does not, touch anywhere that he is talking about currently. So I think he needs to restrict himself more.
Point of order sustained. Honorable member, please confine yourself within the confinement of the State of the Nation address, and then minimize your general knowledge intervention. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll always be interrupted those people who are called they are part of the ruling party, but that will not stop me. I am here to analyze the failures. I think that's what I'm telling the Vice President. In analyzing what is leading to all these failures that we're talking about, you might see that it's outside the topic, but it's inside the topic. Because we have to evaluate things. That's what I am doing. That's why I have to define what leadership is all about. The E there is to evaluate and the R there is to engage.
Honorable member.
No, they've kept my time. Let me allow finish it.
Honorable member. Honorable member, please be guided by my rulings, please.
They try to confuse me. Okay. Now we go to health. He said 5 major standard hospitals all over the country. The 5 that we have, you go there, no paracetamol. And then now the 5 standard that you're going to build will have paracetamol. My own health center at Kalagi, nothing is there. If I say nothing, I mean nothing is there. People have to buy medicine to take it there. Even the nurses who are there cannot sleep in that place. The buildings are all spoiled. Why? And now we are talking about giving you 5 standard. Where are you going to get it? Now it's like we have to neglect everything that was owned by the previous government. Like just as we are talking about the new constitution, the anti-corruption bill, means now we can continue corruption until when the anti-corruption bill is around. There are no laws that are there to protect us. We have to change our attitude if we want to see this country. We have to see this country first. Let's say things that are affecting the development of this country. Not about coming to defend a party here. My party is the Gambia. When it comes to election, I belong to a party for my people to vote for me to represent, because that's what the constitution says. Then I must come from a party. If you deny my party, I go for independent, to come through the independent to be here. Campaign time, a lot. But when it comes to after the campaign now, some communities will not see you. You have laid your stones there already. They are waiting for you. Next campaign, you'll find them there. So, what I want to say here again, you look at the fisheries. 30 million every year by the European Union. They don't give things free there. 83 million lancings. And then another 30 million. So is it when you add the total figures, landing, lancings and other things, you got about 148 million. This 148 million can do a lot to create jobs for our people. Are we on that track? I remember when I was working for Child Fund, we had a mango juice factory in Dar es Salaam. So if an NGO is able to produce that, what will stop ACREC from producing that one? I remember again, they denied my village a project that was there for the simple reason, Honorable Keba Tumanisane comes from an opposition area. I said to my people, I don't care even if a village voted me, I got 2 people who voted for me. Because at the Kalagi Senior Secondary School, it was not me. The money did not come directly from me, but I'm able to facilitate to give the school a borehole within my 1 year in office. What will stop government providing such facilities within the community? How are they seeing me as their enemy now? Because the school is a government school. Now they are with a borehole. And then I have given another borehole to another community within my 1 year in office. Football alone, I have taken from my salary to sponsor $50,000. 100,000 is played. This is coming from me alone. I don't want to say what I have done. What will stop government doing those things in the communities? But they're waiting for elections to go and provide them with $1,000 to buy their votes. And then you call that democracy, weak democracy. Let's go back to dictatorship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Fonyi Jarol. I now give the floor to the member for Latikunda Sabeji. The member for Old constituency.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. First of all, we are running on time, 15 minutes for the debate. First, I think I will thank the Vice President for being with us since yesterday, and also Honorable Ministers here present. I also want to thank the President for fulfilling the constitutional requirement, attending the session of the National Assembly, and giving his statement on the conditions of the Gambia. That is a constitutional requirement. Honorable Speaker, under Section 77, it's important that the President is here, and I think members, subsection 1, 2, and 3 are perhaps interlinked. We will want to call the President, I mean, like members will say, they will call the President to come and attend a session of the National Assembly. They are at liberty to do that. But I think the President also is at liberty to send in the Vice President to come and speak in the National Assembly on his behalf.
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
It's because of the
Can
mic.
You speak
it's
the
because of the mic. What I am saying is, Section 77 of the Constitution says the President, the President may appear in the National Assembly to give a statement. And I've heard the member of Brikama not saying something. That is what I wanted to also highlight on. That we may call the President to come and discuss with the members of National Assembly on issues that we think are important for the Gambia. That's what I'm saying. I said, even though we can do that, the President can also send in the Vice President to come and speak on his behalf in the National Assembly. So I think we are in line. I mean, that is not a point for us to discuss. Oh, exactly. Honorable Speaker, the State of the Nation address by the President, I think every year is important. However we perceive the nation address made by the President in various ways from different sectors, in our own thinking, we will stand here and talk about them. And that is the nation address. But perhaps my own intervention will fall on 2 or 3 categories, Honorable Speaker. And that is, one is youth and sports. I'll talk about health and office of the Vice President, perhaps, and also lands and regional government. Honorable Speaker, on the youth and sports, the President said something very important, and I think we need to thank him. His government has been doing a lot of things for the Minister of Youth and Sports. But again, I wanted to I wanted to say this in quote. In sports, the Gambia is doing very well in various competitions. Football, athletics, beach volleyball, and martial arts are typical examples. I congratulate all our sports persons and officials on their success. The under-20 football team most notably inclusive. The government will remain solidly supportive of the sector. Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Youth and Sports, for me, I think is perhaps one of the most important ministries that we need to empower as a National Assembly. This ministry is neglected, and I think the failure for this ministry to advance sports in this country is the failure of this National Assembly, because we are not allocating them enough resources for them to do what they're supposed to do. Whatever the case, that is my point. We need to be able to give them money. Sports is lucrative. We have seen our neighboring countries, Senegal and all other countries, how they are thriving in sports. What is stopping this National Assembly from providing enough resources for that ministry to enhance sports in all areas, so that our young people can take on sports and be able to get, the actual revenue that they deserve? Honorable Speaker, we cannot neglect sports. We cannot neglect sports. And I think the President, the government of President Adama Barrow, when he comes into power, we have seen the support that he has started rendering to sports, especially the national team. But that's not the only area. This National Assembly must stand up and ensure that we provide enough resources for this ministry. We can do a lot in sports and earn enough revenue to be able to work in this country and develop the Gambia. We can do that. The Independence Stadium has been here for 30 years. We have been using it. This current government, invested almost $100 million in the Independence Stadium. And I think that is commendable by the government. But we have to improve more. One thing we can do is we allocate resources for this ministry. We can support the young people. That is the only way we can develop as well. We can touch other areas, but we cannot neglect the Minister of Youth and Sports. For me, that is an important area that I have to talk about, and I think this National Assembly, whenever we have failure in that ministry, is as a result of this very National Assembly. We have to be able to provide enough, allocate enough resources for this ministry to empower the young people. That is us. We cannot just leave it like that. I mean, leave the ministry neglected without giving enough resources, and yet still we start calling names to say the ministry is failing and they are not doing what they are supposed to do. Let's please consider that. Honorable Speaker, on the health, under the President's statement, he has done a lot on the Ministry of Health. A lot also has been left, but we thank the ministry for doing enough work. A lot of things are still pending, but like the President said, that they still wanted to construct 5 more state-of-the-art hospitals within the country. I think we commend the government on that, the President on that area. One way we can also do, I think I have to lobby in this area. My constituency is, it's a big constituency, and I think we don't have such a facility within the Greater Banjul area where we are. We have land. We can always accommodate that state-of-art hospital in our constituency. Our people definitely need that. Before you build a state-of-art hospital in an area where you have, let's say 15,000 people, I think it's better for you to construct the state-of-the-art hospital in an area where you have a huge population where they can make the best use of that facility. I know the minister, when the time comes, will consider that, and they will be able to identify an area that is more suitable for that. Honorable Speaker, on the Office of the Vice President, under the statement of the President, I have not had. Last year we had disaster, and the support that the government is supposed to render to the people, especially within my constituency, Nema Kunku, Jabang, I know they are doing something, but we wanted to hear a lot more, because the people are still waiting. They wanted to, be supported. The rainy season is coming again. What are the plans ahead? What is the Office of the Vice President doing? How do they want to support them? Those things need to come as well, because I know the government has a lot of plans, but these plans need to be outlined for us to understand so that we can translate this to our people as well. Honorable Speaker, on the lands and regional government, one of the key areas that is affecting our lands within the Combo is the emergence of the estate agencies. And I think this is, doing a lot more harm. The minister is here. We'll want to hear, what are the things happening within the area? Because for me, I think estate agencies are doing a lot of harm. They are not doing what they're supposed to do. What are the legal, requirements for estate agencies to start, selling lands within our area without having all the legal terms with the government? What are the things in place for us to know? Because it's important for us to, they are, taking a lot of resources from our people, telling them that they are going to sell lands to them, and these things will not materialize at the end of the day. So these are parts that we also wanted to hear from the statement. Perhaps they are not here, but the Vice President can say, elaborate a lot more on this area for us to understand. The statement for me, Honorable Speaker, is apt. The President mentioned a lot of things that I think are in line. It depends on the way we perceive it as individuals, as politicians. But Honorable Speaker, I want to say this. Even if we are having failure in our government, I think I'll put the blame on the technicians. The technicians are not doing what they're supposed to do. Why are we taking the blame as politicians when the technicians are not doing the right thing? But also, why are we sitting watching the technicians when we have powers to sack them from what they are doing, or at least move them from where they are? We cannot be taking blames for the work of somebody who is working in the government and being paid by taxpayers' money, and yet still we are taking blame for their responsibilities. This must end. We must stop it. We must stop that. This government is a government for everybody. So you cannot be part of the government, and then you don't want to serve that particular government that is paying you in the name of, what, democracy or what, job security. We cannot be taking those blames. I know the ministers are politically appointed. They are trying their best, but the technicians are behind them to support them. Whatever comes to this National Assembly by the President is given to the ministers by the technicians. Does it fit for purpose? We ask the technicians. So I think, Honorable Vice President, we need to consider that. We cannot only look at technicians as staffs of the ministries or in the civil service, but we are taking blame for their responsibilities. How long are we going to take that? So I think it's important for us to look in that area and ensure that we have a vibrant civil service, people who are committed to the job, who are committed, who are loyal to the state, and are prepared to work for the government. It's important for us to get that. Any other person who is not doing that is not fit in the government. And I think we need to consider, Honorable Speaker. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I would beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Olyundum and Deputy Majority Leader. I now give the floor to the Member for Latikunda Sabili.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I commend the Vice President and all the other honorable ministers who are presently here. I also commend the President for fulfilling his constitutional obligation, even though there are consequences if you disobey the law. Honorable Speaker, I think I will start from the draft constitution. Honorable Minister, I think it is high time the government of the Gambia to bring this draft constitution to the National Assembly for us to adopt. You see, what we fail to understand as office holders is there is life after every office. Today, as I'm sitting here, I have seen former permanent secretaries who are now ministers. I have seen former governors who are now ministers. So therefore, there is life after every office. Therefore, if you look at the Constitution, over $160 million Gambian taxpayers' money has been invested into that constitutional process. The Constitution belongs to Gambians because every village in this country, even hard-to-reach areas, were all visited. People gathered in Bantabas and approved this Constitution. This is what they say should be their governing book. Honorable Speaker, so if that amount of taxpayers' money has been invested into such process, both locally, people were consulted, internationally, people were consulted, we agreed this is going to be our law book. So therefore, that is why I was very angry with the last legislature for throwing this constitution to the dustbin, and it is still there. And it is the executive will and discretion that this constitution should come back to the National Assembly. Therefore, I beg Honorable Minister, in the name of Allah, bring this constitution back to the National Assembly. We debate on it, give and take, and let it become our progressive document. Honorable Minister, now, Honorable Speaker, rather, I will now go to agriculture. I think the problem in this country is attitude of people. But I remember in 2015, I conducted a month consultancy with IFAD. I was hired as a civil work expert to look into IFAD projects. I have traveled to 63 agricultural districts in this country, and I prepared a very progressive report. Then it was Solomon Owen who was the minister. I can still remember the crew. Solomon Owen was the minister. Professor Wali was the agriculture advisor to the president. President Permanent Secretary Hassan Jallo was there. Ibrahima Jawara. Usman Jammeh was the PS, I think, at that time. When I prepared my report about Vision 2021, it's 2021 or 2020, in my report, I said the vision is not a realistic vision, but it has given us direction as a country to follow. When the report was, because the report was flashed to IFAD and the government of the Gambia, the permanent secretary then called me to his office, and the minister was there, Solomon Owens. They said I should remove that part of the report that said the vision was not realistic, because the president, the then president, will not like it. I told them I did not write this report for the president. I wrote this report for IFAD. This is just for your retention and for your copy. And I told them, I think President Jammeh wants to know the truth. Because why I say it was not a realistic vision, before I write the report, I asked for documents so that I can guide myself. They couldn't produce me any documents, but they want me to write the vision was realistic, so to please the president. So it's the attitude of the people. That is why this country is not moving an inch. So for agriculture to develop, people need to revise their attitude, and let's take our country issues very seriously. Honorable Speaker, with regards to fertilizer issue, I think the government of the Gambia, especially the minister and those working at the GGC, should stop to interfere into the procurement and supply process of fertilizer. Because if you look at it, 80% of our fertilizer bleeds outside this country to Senegal. Who bleeds outside this country are the people identified to sell this fertilizer. So the Honorable Minister, I will also tell you in the name of Allah, don't interfere into the procurement process, don't interfere into the supply process of fertilizer. We go to credit facilities. Here are all agricultural projects that are granting credit to farmers. The credit always comes at a very high interest rate. For us to help our farmers, the best thing we can do is to give them credit facilities at a very, very, very minimal interest rate. Because if you don't do that, these credits will never be utilized into purpose.
Honorable Member for Latikuna, are you reading?
I'm not reading.
Please.
Who should ask me? Are you reading? Somebody should
raise
a point of order.
Please sit down.
No, no.
Okay, please sit
Somebody
down.
should raise a point of order, not you,
sit
to
down.
tell me, are you reading?
Okay, sit down.
These are just simple.
Okay, please sit down. Take your seat. Honorable Member for Latikuna. Honorable Member for Latikuna, I believe and all members who have mastery or knowledge of the standing order, I'm in order to draw any member who is out of order, or any other member can also call the member to order. If you don't know that, you should try to look at some of these provisions. Please, if you are reading, refrain from reading. Thank you.
With regards to the Ministry of Finance, Honorable Speaker, I think I always said this here. What this government should do is to scrap fuel subsidy. It's not sustainable. Let's get politics out of this issue. We cannot keep subsidizing fuel in this country. It's expensive. And at the end of the day, how much foreign currency is going into this process? I think what the government should do is to allow the natural flow of the pumping price and stop subsidizing fuel in this country for us to have a sustainable economy. Another thing is tax levy at the airport. Every citizen is a subject of the law. We are all subject of the law. Therefore, I don't understand why diplomatic passport holders are not paying the airport security fee. The president, his wife, the children, ministers, your wife, your children, we the National Assembly members, why are we not paying security fee? Everybody is a subject of the law. Therefore, we should all pay this. You cannot only subject ordinary travelers and citizens to pay security fee, while all the passport holders in this country are not paying security fee. Therefore, we have to do it, otherwise we are all not paying the tax, and this is illegal. Nobody should get tax.
There is, Honorable Member, there is point of order from the member for Kantora. Can we hear a point of order, Honorable?
Honorable Speaker, I rise on order 29. Every member shall restrict his or her observation on the subject under discussion. Security report is never part of the report of the zonal address. So let the member wait until adjournment debate to debate extensively generally. Thank you very much.
Order sustained. Let's confine ourselves to the State of the Nation's address.
I cannot wait for adjournment debate. Honorable Speaker, going to the Ministry of Interior, the biggest threat to the unity, peace, and stability of this country is the police deliberate and the reckless interference into the investigation processes. Myself, a woman made an audio insulting a particular tribe. I took it upon myself as an initiative.
Point of order, Honorable
and
Speaker.
took the police and took the
The
next point of order. We are going to stop this session, but I'm not going to sit down. This is the last point of order I'll accept, okay?
Point of order.
Honorable members, please, let's respect our own rules. Once there's a point of order, you've no option but to take your seat and allow the point of order. There is a point of order from nominated member Fatuke Jawara. Can we hear your point of order, ma'am?
Very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm rising on order 18. Any member deviating from the standing order may be immediately called to order, and the member is deviating. The lady that made audio is never part of the speech of the Suna.
You know, since yesterday, we've been advising members to confine themselves to the State of the Nation address. Please, honorable member, and those who would come after you, let's confine ourselves with the State of the Nation address and forget about other side issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Now to the Ministry of Sports. Minister of Sports, how are you? I haven't seen a ministry least performing like the Ministry of Sports. All these stadium projects has failed, and the president did not make any mention of that during the SONA. I will talk about it. It's a question for the minister to come and answer and to come and explain to the National Assembly what happened to the stadium projects. With regards to the Ministry of Petroleum and Energy, we did not hear anything about the oil exploration in this country that is ongoing. We have also seen where all the temporal deals become permanent deals. Car Power came for temporal purpose, Senelac came for temporal purpose, and these services are still ongoing, costing the government of the Gambia $1.7 million every month. I think it is high time we look into ourselves and make sure our energy is sustainable from ourselves or within the service of the Gambia than taking everything from Senegal. Ministry of Works. The president has laid foundation for several road projects, which I will call unfunded, because I will qualify it to be a funded project if they were approved by the National Assembly or they are in the 2023 budget. So I don't know why the president with the entire government architecture, waste fuel, time, and lay stones, foundation stones that are not funded in 2023. I need the Minister for Works to also explain that. Ministry of Defense. Ministry of Defense, what Gambians want to hear now is the status of the security sector reform, the presence of why do we have the continuous presence of ECOMIC, and why do we see foreign forces occupying our land for the past 7 years. We also want to hear how will the defense sector soldiers contribute to agricultural productivity in this country. I told this National Assembly last time, we are not prepared for war. We cannot fight war. We can only prepare our soldiers for agricultural productivity and to help us. How do they also contribute to getting government projects so that we are going to finance these projects at a very minimal rate?
Can I observe?
The Ministry of
Point of order.
Can I observe?
Point of order.
Honorable Speaker.
It's point of order from
this school. I told you this. That was my last point of order. I'm going to sit down. I'm not going to sit down.
Honorable Member for Latikuna.
Education, Honorable Speaker. This.
Sit down. Take your seat, please. There is point of order. Honorable Member for Latikuna, please let's respect the rules. Honorable Member for Latikuna. Order from the member for Kiang West. Please, can we hear your point of order? The member for Sanementre. Please.
I'm rising on order 17F. Behaviors of members. While a member is speaking, all members shall be silent and shall not make unseemly interruption. And continuously members are interrupting, making noise or at every corner while he is speaking. I think it's very undone.
Thank you very much. Order sustained. Members, please, let's allow him to contribute so that we can proceed. And others also, once you take the floor, members should be able to listen to you. Member for Latikuna, please continue.
Thank you very much. On the OIC projects, Ministry of Works, I think the only successful project is the Batil Hadin Highway. This is why we should make sure we remove politics out of development. You see, when we initiated OIC, Lamin Sanel left CEO because they say he was UDP. Bandin Silla left because they say he was UDP.
Honorable Member, take your seat, please.
I am not going to take my seat.
Honorable Member, please.
I am not going to take.
Yeah, please sit down.
I'm not going to sit down. You cannot interrupt.
Yes, please. Yeah, please wait. Honorable Member, please, I have advised that members refrain from mentioning names of persons or individuals who cannot and will not have the opportunity to defend themselves in this parliament. That is out of order. Please proceed, continue.
Okay, thank you very much. The OIC projects failed because 8 members resigned who initiated the institution from scratch, resigned from that institution because of their political affiliation. That is why the OIC has failed. That is why we will never host the OIC, because people there are incompetent. We go to the hotel project. The foundation stone was laid by the president, I think, over 8 months now. Not a single work is happening on site. And this is very worrying. I'm sure the Minister of Works will come and say something about that. Honorable Speaker, with regards to local government, and that's going to be my last submission, the local government structure and administration has been decided by Gambians. Parties contested the elections and results were delivered. I urge the Honorable Minister that he has no choice, but he must work with local government administration, because that's what the law provides. You must work with local government administration, and the government must make sure that local government administration are structured. So, because these people who voted for you are the same people who also vote for local government administration. So therefore, I urge the minister to try and improve his relationship with the local government administrations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Member for Latikunda Sabiji. I now invite the member for Busumbala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. May I recognize the presence of the Vice President and Cabinet Ministers here present, honorable colleagues, I salute you all. Honorable Speaker, I will start my intervention at the concluding remarks by the President, where he preached unity and peace. Honorable Speaker, the President in the statement did emphasize on peace and unity within members of this National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, peace and unity are very sacrosanct. It is important that we have within and amongst ourselves in order to advance the development of this country. Honorable Speaker, but this peace and unity cannot be realized if we bent on partisan consideration that takes the center stage of our national interests. And we have seen an ugly face of that in this assembly. Anytime you rise to make an important motion based on party lines, people try to distract you. Honorable Speaker, I therefore reiterate that the President's call for that peace and unity should be strengthened by all members in this August Assembly for us to have a development that we desired. You cannot have that peace and unity if the members of the National Assembly bent on bullying one another. We cannot have that peace and unity if the leadership of the National Assembly is biased. We cannot have that peace and unity if there is preferential treatment within the members of the National Assembly.
Honorable Member for Busumbala.
All right, thank you.
There is a point of order, but you are also reading. That's out of order. Nominated Member Kebalang Fofana. Nominated Member Kebalang Fofana have a point of order. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I'm rising on order 29.5. No member shall impute improper motives to any other members. The honorable member does not have any right to preempt the motives of other members. They have the right to his opinion, and equally they have a right to their own opinion. So, Honorable Speaker, I kindly seek your indulgence to tell him to withdraw that statement.
In fact, no,
Honorable Minority Leader saying can I land? You are leaders in the Assembly. Telling National Assembly members
order.
How do you call that?
Orders will explode here.
Order.
People, he's not referring to people here.
Order, please, order. Minority Leader, Majority Leader and Minority Leader, please help to maintain decorum. If you have any different opinion or orders or any observation, you may raise your constituency tag. The point of order raised by nominated member Kebalang Fofana is sustained. Honorable member, you are directly, in fact, you are contradicting your call for unity and call for decorum by attacking the leadership.
No.
Point of order.
Please, order.
Point of order.
You see,
by way of this ruling,
Member Latikunda Sabeji, time and time again, I have been appealing on you to read the standing orders of the National Assembly.
Of your ruling, you are also dividing of order.
You are disrupting the proceedings.
I'm not disrupting, Honorable Speaker.
don't put off your mic again. Don't put on your mic again. If you want to rise to a point of order, and raise your tag, and don't put your mic on, please. Don't put your mic on. I appeal that members read and acquaint themselves with rules of procedure and the standing orders. Please. You can't stand to a point of order when there's a point of order and I'm making my ruling. Please. The member for Busumbala, please, point of order raised by nominated member Kebalang Fofana sustain, and please let's focus on the State of the Nation address and avoid personal attack, please, in the interest of decorum and time.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker.
There's point of order by the member for Latikunda.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I also told you time again and again.
Honorable
Speakers should not descend on debate.
Speakers should not descend on debate. You have descended on debate by way of your ruling. The way you were addressing the Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member.
I switch off your mic because you are not given any permission to talk. You rose to a point of order, give us the order number, read the clause or section, and tell us why you are standing to a point of order. If you have a point of order, please go ahead, sir.
26.
Read it.
26K.
Yeah, read it, please.
Speaker.
No.
How about if I read off head?
26K.
Doesn't mean when I'm reading, I have to look at
Yes, go ahead. 26K. Go ahead.
Speaker, he is misleading us. There is no 26K.
No, 26K. No, don't mind him. Please read
26.4.
No.
26.4. The Speaker shall not take part in the debate before the Assembly.
Member for Latikuna, read us 26K. No, he said 26K.
I changed my mind.
Sit down.
26.4.
Sit down. Take your seat. Honorable member for Honorable member, sit down. Honorable member for Latikunda, you are out of order. Member for Kiang West.
Right. On the order I'm rising on is the order that has been raised by honorable member. The honorable member did not say we cannot have that unity because the National Assembly authority is biased. He said if. Let's be very careful with this step. He said if.
Thank you.
If we keep bullying each other and if the authority is biased. So if is there. So I think we need to be very careful with statements.
Honorable member, thank you. Please don't make statement. No, I made ruling on this order. Member for Busumbala, please.
I still maintain my position. We cannot have.
Honorable member for Busumbala, please take your seat, please. Please.
You asked me to proceed.
Yeah, there is point of order. Please sit down. And I appeal to members. Once I do ruling, I don't want members to go back to the same point and be defiant. Please, let's respect the ruling of the Speaker. If I make ruling on a point of order, you must abide by that. Please. That's the rule of procedure. Please, honorable members, for the interest of decorum, let's abide by the standing orders. Please. Member for Olyundu.
Honorable Speaker, I wanted to refer them to Section 20 of the Standing Order. That's the responsibility of Speaker for order. The Speaker in the Assembly and the Chairman in any committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the Assembly and committees respectively. And his or her decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal and shall not be reviewed by the Assembly except on a substantive motion. I think the ruling of the Speaker stands on any point of order raised by any member. Once the Speaker ruled, that is the point. Unless if you are throwing our standing order outside and then want to challenge the decision of the Speaker sitting on the chair. So I think we need to respect that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, a member for Olyundum. Your point of order sustained, and members must acquaint themselves with orders of the National Assembly. Member for Busumbala, please continue your contribution.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Just trying to nurture and foster the the calls for the President's unity, and I praise that we adhere to it. Thank you. From there, I will proceed to various ministries. I will start with the Minister of Defense. Honorable Speaker, the President's address regarding the Defense Ministry did indicate that there is this treaty, Armed Trade Treaty, that the Minister of Defense intends to table before this assembly. I would encourage, once this treaty is before us, we give a due consideration to it, as it is going to, seek to eradicate all illicit trade of arms and also control the proliferation of small arms in this country. I will also go to the Minister of Interior. Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Interior, in the President's address, he indicated that the Minister of Interior did register a significant progress in terms of crime reduction, that the crimes being registered at our police stations compared to the previous years is significantly reduced. We therefore thank the members of the Interior, that's the police force and other security services, for effectively taking part in combating crimes within our territory. Notwithstanding, the numbers that are registered at our police station cannot be used as a yardstick to determine whether the crime is in reduction or not. There are so many domestic violence that are happening in the Gambia. There are cases that individual will take to the police station and the police officers there will not register in their CCR because they believe it is a civil matter. Those cases are rampant. Cases of such obtaining monies by false pretense, that is frequent within the land dealing sector. People are obtaining lands from individuals, knowing very well that those lands doesn't belong to them, but take that money when they go to the police station for redress, and the police will not register such cases in their CCR. So we will say it's important that the cases that are registered had a significant drop, but that cannot be, it is not a correct measure to say we have a low crime rates in this country. We have cases, like I said, that are not registered, and the government in the Interior Ministry should be able to double their effort to make sure that they look into those crimes also, so that to give us, the populace, a befitting and correct statistic of crimes in this country. That's one. The President also the President also made mention of, if I may read, Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Interior, in partnership with the International Organization for Migration, the Gambia, with the funding from the Switzerland, Federal Department of Foreign Affairs has launched the Assisted Voluntary Return and Reintegration Capacity Building Project for the Gambia. This, I have a reservation, Honorable Speaker. As far as I know, the returnees that are landed in this country, most of them came not voluntarily. They just been, arrested and treated inhumanly and forcefully deported them into this country. Honorable Speaker, we urge, hence there is a fund that the government or the Interior Ministry is in agreement with this particular organization. Let that fund be utilized to make sure that the returnees who are here are being taken care of, are being given portion to take care of their needs. As we are seeing, most of these returnees coming into this country now face so many stigmas, to the extent that some of the returnees bent on committing suicide, which has been reported. Honorable Speaker, the peace project that is to be established at the Ministry of Interior, I have reservation in this, because as far as I know, the Ministry of Interior, the Department of the Gambia Police Force, most of their activities are biased. They are not in line with the best practice of strengthening the peace and stability of this nation. When I say that, I have evidence. There are several occasions the police will invite citizens of this country who are believed to be in other political party, detain them for over 72 hours, restrict their freedom of liberty, and after the case will not go because there is no evidence. That happens in several occasions. So we are afraid that if this peace sector to be established within this Interior Ministry, it will not pay dividends because people already lack the confidence that the Interior Ministry is the capable body to hold that. Probably if the recommendation could be that of the Minister of Justice. Honorable Speaker, legal and judiciary sector. Several speakers have indicated here that we really want this draft constitution back. In 2022, we can say it is a draft constitution because it appears in the SONA. But this time around, I don't think it's a draft constitution. It's a constitution that is about to be in the process of, taking another process. So for me, the Minister of Justice is here. Please, we need our draft constitution. We need this draft constitution because we believe all Gambians.
Honorable, you have one more minute.
Don't worry.
You have 18 minutes, and I'm giving you 1 more minute again.
Honorable Minister of Justice, I'm appealing you and your ministry. We want the draft constitution back because we believe that there are progressive provisions, clauses in that draft constitution that can deliver this country to the promised land. Don't be distracted. Politically, we may come with our political jargons to confuse. You are a legal luminary. We believe and trust the system. You will deliver the constitution that is going to. You deliver us a constitution that is going to be productive and future, looking for this country. Thank you so much. I rest my case, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Busumbala. I now give the floor to the member for Sanementering.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll acknowledge the presence of the Vice President, Your Excellency, the Honorable Ministers, the Permanent Secretaries, and the Deputy Permanent Secretaries, the media, and of course, thank you very much, the Honorable Members, for being here with us, the Honorable Ministers, and Your Excellency, the Vice President, for almost 2 days, for fulfilling your constitutional mandate. Just to go straight to the point, Honorable Speaker, I've gone through the State of Nation address, and there are some observations that I've done already. And just to start with Section 2, the Finance and Economic Affairs, with subsection 6, and if you may permit me to read, Honorable Speaker, with less attention of COVID-19 infrastructure, development activities resume and will remain a priority. And I'll go straight to the last paragraph, or the last sentence, which reads, as the country prepares to host the OIC summit by December this year. Your Excellency, the Vice President, could you kindly tell us how prepared is the Minister of Finance, since the Minister is not here, or through you, if the Minister of Finance could kindly tell us how prepared they are that they'll be able to host this summit by December this year, by telling us the areas, or the areas that are completed for the project and the areas that are not completed, just to be sure that they'll be able to host this year, this December. Honorable Speaker, going to subsection 9, the last sentence, which reads, government will strengthen domestic resources mobilization to finance the RF and DP. Your Excellency, the Vice President, could you also elaborate and tell us how this can happen? And to subsection 10, an International Monetary Fund, IMF, team visited the Gambia to conduct a diagnostic exercise of the country's governance and corruption vulnerabilities. The mission commended by administration for the progress achieved so far, especially for bringing various legislations in line with the best practices and shared useful observations with us. Your Excellency, could you kindly, through you, that the Minister of Finance, to also give us an evidence of the areas that the IMF had shared their observation. Moving on to section 3, which is the agriculture, subsection 2, to provide examples of such undertakings, and national fertilizer policy has been formulated and validated, and the development for a strategic plan is at an advanced stage. Could you tell us at what advanced stage? And please elaborate. And moving on to page 15, subsection 1, Honorable Speaker, which the last sentence again, in addition, a defense strategy and implementation plan funded by the UK were completed in October 2022. Honorable Speaker, Your Excellency, through you, could the Honorable Minister tell us clearly this UK, the UK, is it the UK government, or there is an institution or somewhere who funded this project, and on what basis? Was it on loan basis? Honorable Speaker, moving on to page 16, subsection 5, which reads, subsection 6 rather, which reads, significantly too, the Minister and GAF will maintain close collaboration with other security agencies to ascertain a safe environment for every person in the country. Could you tell us, Honorable Minister, through the responses for Your Excellency, the Vice President, could you tell us the percentage of medication available for these services, the medical services, and at what level are they supporting or the scholarship, or are they scholarships? Moving on to section 6, the fisheries, water resources, and National Assembly matters, subsection 1, which reads, Honorable Speaker, the fisheries sector is a key contributor to the Gambian economy, accounting to 10% of GDP in 2022 and providing direct employment to over 30,000 people. What percentage are women and their employment units? Could you please provide us, Your Excellency, with that information? And then moving on to subsection 3, the ministry is investing in the artisanal fisheries value chain to alleviate post-harvest challenges with funds from the EU government Sustainable Fisheries Partnership Agreement. On what basis? Was it on loan basis or was it a grant? Could you kindly provide us, Your Excellency, the Vice President? Moving on to section 7, which is the Gender, Children, and Social Welfare. Subsection 2, on program implementations, the Women Enterprise Fund. Could you kindly provide us with an information where it listed the 628 women groups? How was the selection criteria? What were the qualifications that gives them the power to be receiving this Women Enterprise Fund? And what percentage was paid and how much was the balance not settled yet? Your Excellency, the Vice President. Subsection 3, the Sahel Women Economic Project, Empowerment Project rather, which is at its preparatory stage, will be implemented throughout the country from 2024 to 2026. The project is to economically empower women and girls through entrepreneurship and level skill trained. It also supports in-school girls to complete grade 12 and women to access relevant information and reproductive health services. It is a World Bank funded project. What would be the qualification for this support to avoid partisan? What qualification will the recipients of these donors or this support, what will be the qualification in order to avoid being partisan? When we move on to basic and secondary education, section 8, subsection 2, specifically early childhood and development and enrollment increase from certain number of people to certain level. Is there any plan in place for these students who will be graduated in the near future from these schools? Is there any plan that more factories or offices whereby we will be able to create employment for these youths who will be graduating from these schools? And for Allah heaven's sake, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Gambia, could the government build factories where in our fruits, things like mangoes, we're just throwing them away because we don't have factories to make them juice? At least, I think this could have been a better idea to build up factories of such so that at least that can also create employment for youths in order to achieve the number of employment that you said your government said they will be creating for the youths of this country. Moving on to subsection 12, through the partnership, or through partnership, 2,597 new classrooms. I am still appealing if more factories or whatsoever could be created for the youths of our country to avoid them having, ghettos, brewing attire, or smoking yamba or cigarettes. At least they could be useful to this nation. And I know some of these peoples or some of these children or youths are very useful children who could be very useful to their parents at homes. Honorable Speaker, moving on to section 10, Interior, the Minister of Interior, in partnership with the International Organization for Migration, the Gambia, with funding for Switzerland Federation Department of Foreign Affairs, has launched an assisted vulnerability return and reintegration capacity building project for the Gambia. Effect when? Your Excellency, the Vice President. Moving on to subsection 5. There is a decrease of the number of crimes recorded in third quarter of 2022. It decreased by 12.6%. Is there any mobility provided for the security personnel like the police, the PIU, and of course the immigration department? If so, is there any plan, and when are you planning to provide these for these personnel, Your Excellency, the Vice President? And to the youth and sports, young people, which is the section 16 and on page 38, of course, young people are the most productive segment of society and thus are stakeholders in the national development process. They face substantial barriers, however, in their quest to be productive and empowerment citizens of this country, as I said earlier. I think the President needs to revisit this paragraph and think the same youths mentioned in this SONA needs to be taken care of very well. Day in, day out, our youths, the youths of this country, the Gambia, are being sent back to the Gambia. Some are roaming in streets, some are committing crimes, some are even killing their parents because of frustration. I think this area needs to be revisited by the President, at least to create avenue for these people to be empowered by employment. It's a very serious matter that our youths of this country who traveled, some of their parents will sell their land, some of their parents will take out the little savings that they have done for the entire 5 years or more, and then give it to these youths to travel for a better living for a family. And yet they are bringing them back to the country. And some are still roaming in streets. I think we need a better solution for these people so that they can be fruitful in this country. Your Excellency. And on Office of the Vice President, Honorable Speaker, from the commencement of NAFA in 2021 to date, a total of 16,957 extremely poor households from the 20 poorest districts across 825 communities in West Coast Region, LRR, NBR, CRR, etc., URR, have received bi-monthly payments of $3,000. How was this fund or support distributed? What was the qualification and what was the criteria for this qualification to be supplied or for this support to be given to different households as stated in the SONA? Honorable Speaker, on page 46, subsection 9, the National Disaster Management Agency policy developed in 2008, however, it now absolute as a result, NDMA has commenced the formulation of an updated policy and its accompanying strategy to address emerging challenges. Kindly tell us, Your Excellency, the Vice President, who are these criteria, or how was this criteria stated, and how was the support given out? Your Excellency, so far, these are the areas that I've observed, and I think through the Office of the Vice President, to the President of this nation, we'll look at this properly and then elaborate next year in 2024 to explain in detail how the activity were conducted in the Gambia through the SONA. Thank you very much. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I better take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for signing mentoring. And it's 14:30, and I want to break for 1 hour, and the House now suspended until 15:30 p.m.